Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, animals of all ages. Here we are for the first time this year and the first of the series here at ESO's world famous World Endurance Championship round. You are joined here with your commentator, Zachary O'Reilly, and Lindsay Muddle joins me in the commentary box tonight, mate. Good to be with you here. What's been going on?
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm happy to be here with you. It was in a bit of doubt whether I would end up being able to get here for the round, but missing all the Monday nights. So I came here for LMU on the Saturday, and now we're here to get ready and racing.
Oh, mate, I cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. It is going to be SimSational here tonight. The drivers are in the briefing room at this stage, ladies and gents, and it's going to be a bit of an extended one. So we're gonna keep you company for the next 5 minutes or so, then get revved up for qualifying. It's going to be interesting. We have every single possible, I would say, class that you could ever have on the grid here. We've got hypercars, we've got LMP2s, we have got GTEs and GT3s tonight. It is going to be exciting, Lindsay, and 3 hours of racing coming our way. Anything could happen there, Lindsay, too.
Yeah, 3 hours, 4 classes. It is definitely going to be a spectacle, especially those GTEs not currently raced in real life anymore, and the GT3s tangling in with them. The GTEs, I believe, should be just that tiny bit faster, so we'll even see some GT car and GT car traffic into class as well. It'll be really interesting to see them go head-to-head when it comes to lapping. It could definitely make it just a little bit tricky, as well as the LMP2s getting involved as well. With the GTPs, it is going to be mayhem out there on the track.
Oh, yeah, and Sebring is the bumpiest circuit in the land, I would say, in this excellent world that we live in. And by jingos, that could be something to behold when it comes to drivers' errors or even just driver skill. But nonetheless, the muscles are going to be sore after this one, I would say. It could be very, very testing for the rest of them. How many people are going to actually, I would say, finish this race? We've got 35 cars on the grid tonight for 3 hours racing. Many pit stops to be had too. So we cannot wait for that here, ladies and gents. And whilst the briefing gets underway, we're going to get right back with you here and get prepped and get our race faces on. Qualifying will be up in the next 5 or so minutes. So stick around here at SimSational TV. We'll be right back with you here for an exciting intro and qualifying here for the 3 hour starting very shortly.
No, actually, just make a new one quickly. I know how to do it. So.
On borrowed time, you can't be a falling line. Family with borrowed time.
checking my phone, though I know you're not online. Look through photos and imagine you are mine. I want you to know that I wish nothing but to see you at my door. 'Cause there ain't nothing like your sunshine, baby, glowing over my porcelain heart. And I wish nothing but for your kiss on my face. How I long for you to take me dancing under the crystal sky, but we're worlds apart. You are moonlight across the silver lake, and I dive in head first. Let it swallow me whole. I wish you could know that I wish nothing but to see you at my door. 'Cause there ain't nothing like the sunshine, baby, glowing over my porcelain heart. And I wish nothing but for your kiss on my face. How I long for you to take me dancing under the crystal sky. We're worlds apart. We're worlds apart. Moving so slow, I can't take it anymore. Losing control of my body and my soul. And I know that I wish nothing but to see you at my door. 'Cause there ain't nothing like the sunshine, baby, glowing over my porcelain heart. And I wish nothing but to see you. There ain't nothing like the sunshine. I wish nothing but for your kiss. How I long for you to take me dancing under the crystal sky. We're worlds apart. We're worlds apart.
Let's go racing. Gentlemen, ladies, viewers, everyone out there, holy mackerel, this is exciting. Sebring International Raceway, round one of this series, and boy, oh boy, will this be a pearler. 16 turns of Sebring International Raceway coming your way, 5.87 kilometres of turnage and carnage coming your way. Qualifying is 10 minutes, ladies and gents, and that is a private session, so we are going to see individual races going around here hammer and tong to make themselves as far up the grid they possibly can per class. 3 hours of racing, 180 minutes, all of the possible pit scenarios we're going to see. Oh my goodness gracious me, it's going to be incredible. 4 classes on the track, hypercars, LMP2s, GT3s and GTEs. My goodness gracious me, that is going to be something to behold, Lindsay Muddle, and I'll tell you what, we are getting excited.
Yeah, it is going to be an absolutely amazing event. 7 seconds left on the practice clock, then we will tick over into the qualifying session of this absolutely incredible circuit. The drivers will be pushing to the absolute limits. It'll be fascinating to see what the pole times are across all the classes, where they all end out. I'm most interested about the GTEs and the GT3 lap times. I think they're going to be very close together, but qualifying is going to be absolutely stunning to watch. So many fast drivers on the grid tonight. It is going to be quite the spectacle.
Oh, absolutely. And when you have multi-class racing, ladies and gents, doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 different classes on the track, let alone 3 between one class. It's going to be absolutely death when it comes to the racing at this point in time. We're going to have to keep our eyes peeled, and so are you also at home too, because when you have that many cars on the circuit, it's something to behold of a racing time. And when you see those cars start to come out in qualifying very, very shortly, it's only going to be a rate of attrition. We've got Gatero on the front there with Alex K 5 tenths away, Lindsay Muddle. That's probably not familiar territory for Alex K.
No, normally he finds himself charging at the front. We saw it in rounds like Brazil for the ASA LMU series, and now he's 5 tenths behind. Could that be because he just got on? He just started his stream, started broadcasting to his viewers, and now he's just warming up? Or is he not given it the push yet? Or there's so many factors. It could be fuel, setup, anything. That's the beauty about multi-class racing, open setups. It's the fact that we just simply don't know how it is going to go when we get out onto the track, into qualifying and into the race as well. But qualifying pace is not the most important factor when it comes to a 3-hour race. It's your ability to survive, and I think we're going to see that right here tonight. We see a lot of DNFs in the 1-hour races, let alone over 3. It is really going to be about survival.
Oh, 100%. As we said earlier in the stream, bumpy track, very, very hard. If you have a high torque direct drive wheel, you still want to feel the car as you're driving around here in sim racing land without dulling out any information coming your way from the game. But still, those I reckon those shoulders and forearms will be singing to the high heavens come about the 2-hour mark, I reckon, here at Sebring, with only a couple of pit stops that they will need to do each time. And then that's the only break they're going to get. And by the looks of it here, qualifying is about ready to start. This is where it gets interesting, ladies and gents. Private qualifying. So everyone gets their own shot out on the circuit. And that is no excuse on the pace department. They are only going to be where they need to be in the grand scheme of things on their own, out there racing around. And as they exit the pit lane now, that is Peter Wall having a fantastic looking Ferrari. He's out on circuit and ready to fly away, Lindsay Muddle. You're going to have to be the man to call some laps here once we get around the opening lap. But with the classes that we've got here, we've got Alex K, a very quick man. We have in the hypercar class, and we've got Liam Curran and Marcus NG as well there. Chris Weitzel, Greg Brock, 2 other drivers you need to look out for too. And we've seen no Paul Britt here tonight in the GT3 class either, so that could be interesting there as well there, Lindsay.
Yeah, and you can't discount Tyson Robbs either in the number 46 car in the GTE as well. He's going to be quite the contender. He's always punching near the front, as currently we look to Grant Begg as he begins what I believe is the first hot lap of this qualifying session in the GTE class in the stunning Aston Martin Vantage, but he's already gone off the track. That is probably lap invalidated as he heads through turn 2. Just keep it left, get ready, and now through the right kink, and then a dab of the brakes, hold it left. It's a medium speed corner, not super slow, and then you've really got to be brave on the throttle to get it out. So Sebring always testing these drivers. That first sector is particularly tricky when the track isn't up to grip. And then now towards turn 7, the hairpin. Spot your braking zone very well. There's a lot of marker boards on the left. Hopefully they don't get taken out come race time, and then hold it right. Just dab a tyre into the gravel. Open up the track as much as possible. With the momentum you're carrying, the cars are unaffected as you head through the left kink of Fangio and towards the turn 10 braking. Spot the 300 as it's in yardage for the braking markers here in the United States, and then power out. A lot of sliding going on in the cockpit of this Aston Martin. The V8 spooling away, trying to get itself up to power, and then just on the brakes as you head through turn 13. And very wide. He's very on the limit here in this Aston Martin. He's struggling a lot to keep the car stable and steady as he heads through the double left-hander to keep it swept through. And then the second the car straightens out, hit the brakes. A lot of a rear lock there for Grant Begg as he heads through the left-hander. Use all the concrete on the entry to open up the corner. Second gear, power out now, down the back straight towards turn 17. So this is the Ullman straight. It is one of the most important straights to set up as you've got to get ready for the right-hand kink. It's easy to lose sight of when the final corner begins, but when Sunset Bend begins, you'll truly know about it. It's very easy to drop the car, and he's sliding just a little bit through the mid-corner. Power out of the final corner now up towards the line. What is the first lap time going to be in the GTE class? It's going to be a 2-minute 2.034 for Grant Begg.
Yeah, that's probably not where he wants to be, I would say, but in the grand scheme of things, ladies and gents, it doesn't matter. because qualifying can bring anyone up to speed or take them out completely. So don't stress. They're going to get quicker as the season goes on as well. And speaking of quick, the quickest man here in the hypercar class is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Alex Kay, just putting it on top already by half a second over anyone else there on the field. Chandra and Brimblecombe are your second and third place getters so far, only by a whisker to Latanzio there as well in the Asota. That's pretty quick too for one of those cars here tonight. I've already had a DQ there in 29th place for Wall, so I don't know what you need to do in Le Mans Ultimate to get disqualified, but he's already done it, and Alex Kay is just flying around 1.3 seconds already quicker than his own PB, than the quickest time on the track at the moment, and he's flying. This BMW is hooked up and pointed. Mind you, his sim rig is absolutely on point, so he's got no excuses not to be quick, I would say, in Alex Kay. And he also does have his own little gig on the side there too for streaming. What is he going to do here, Lindsay? It's a very quick lap here in a hypercar, and you've just got to be balls to the wall, point the nose in, turn it, accelerate out, and make sure you nail those apexes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the reason it was 1.3 seconds quicker in the first sector is that these hypercars and all of the cars on the grid, I believe, don't have tyre warmers with the WEC regulations, so the cars just get quicker and quicker and quicker as you go on, especially the second lap and third lap are the optimal laps in qualifying in these cars, and Alex is proving that right now, and Brimblecombe and Gattero go ahead of him as well. So rounding the final corner, he's going to absolutely blow it out of the water, does Alex Kay, as he rounds the final corner across the line now. It's going to be first, and by quite a margin of 46.457. Take a bow, Alex Kay. That's provisional pole.
Done. Easy. Sold. Thank you very much. And he's just given up already, so he's out of that one. He knows he's pretty much got it in the bag if that keeps going on. But the quickest man in the LMP2 class here is Liam Curran himself. So he is set a 152.135. And if you go off the seconds already, ladies and gents, we're already 5-second difference between these cars and the hypercars too. So we've got this class and the LM GT3s and the GTEs as well to circulate around to get them on board. But these guys now are just absolutely slinging it left, right, centre, upside down here at Sebring. They're not giving him anything to think about in the brain department, and Liam Curran's doing a great job there. He, at the moment, has set a personal best in the first sector, also with a 41.924 versus everyone else behind him doing 42 something. So very quick here for Liam Curran. We'll see where he ends up. Chris Weitzel is leading the GT3 class here at the moment, so very quick is Chris Weitzel. And without Paul Britt here tonight, this could be someone else taking the chockies over the rest of them. What do you reckon, Lindsay?
Yeah, I mean, White's all going very fast in that iconic 488 GTE car. Just such a stunning car in all of its glory. It's definitely missed, I think, in the world of motorsport, and he's doing it justice right now, being pole in the GTE class, at least at this current stage. The GT3 class, on the other hand, I do believe it's Pano on provisional pole.
Yep. My bad.
Yeah.
The colours
that's
have
a
stuffed
GTP.
me up. No, that is a GTP.
Where's our GT3s?
I can't see. I can't see them. They're not coloured by code here. The timing tower is just giving us a little bit to think about here at the moment.
Is that the RSR, or is that the? Yeah, that's the RSR. Do we even have any GT3s on the grid?
Oh, I thought we had them all here. They were signed
Yeah,
up, ready to go. There's
Hold
a
on.
McLaren somewhere.
B26.
Where we are? There we are. Benny Collins, not the Stig himself. There.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. We've got one soul looking GT3 car on the track, and I'm not too sure what he is doing, but he's circulating at the moment, doing 206 threes is the Stig man himself. So he's around in the back straight here at Sebring. Very important braking marker coming up. Only 3 minutes left here in qualifying too. Geez, it's gone quick. 10 minutes is not a lot to shout at here when you are in a 2 minute and a bit second lap time car. You've only got about 4 and a bit to get it all sorted, plus your outlap. So these guys have got to be on song, and Benny Collins is now coming up to the final timing marker, and he has jumped with a 204.828 to continue proceedings there for him, albeit a fair way off the front pace at the moment. No one has knocked off Liam Curran, but Marcus NG's got a bit something to think about here. He is at 3 tenths away, and it's very tight between first, second, and third here in the LMP2 class, and they're looking very racy at the moment. Lindsay driving the wheels off that, using all of the exit curb. He's trying to find a straightest and quickest line to the track, and he's done a 51.866, which puts him on provisional pole for his class. Well done, Marcus NG. That's an absolute belter.
Yeah, and by a single hundredth of a second as well. That is what the LMP2 class can bring. All even playing field. The only thing different is the setups as far as I'm aware. And the LMP2 is just absolutely, they're such an incredible class. Still raced in IMSA, not raced in WEC anymore, but seeing them on the grid definitely brings a smile to, I think, a few people's faces, including mine. It's just so close together. It's purely a driver's car. No ABS, only a bit of TC to shout out about. And it is absolutely a fantastic car to drive. And the GTPs as well, up the front, can't be discarded either. They're such fantastic cars to drive as well, with Alex K currently on pole by just under 7/10, but we come with a minute 15 to go, and it is still close together. There's still a chance for people to improve. Right now, it looks like Alex has the lock and key on the P1 position, but can anybody pull out a magical lap? One of those laps that you only get once in a lifetime. Will it be Katero, Brimblecombe, Tiansen? It'll be all of us that will find out as the time ticks down. Currently, Brimblecombe is not improving on his previous best, but maybe he's just gearing up for one last go at it here in Sebring. It is going to be all to play for here for all of the pole positions, but the one that has the highlight, all the eyes on it, is always the hypercars.
Oh, definitely. And when you see all these drivers just absolutely giving it balls to the wall, nail fashion sort of style racing, that's what you want to see on track. And it's going to be interesting because we start at about 5:30 p.m. here, local time. Now on track, so by the time 3 hours is over, it's going to be 8:30, Lindsay. So we could be racing into the night here, and that is going to strew up some sort of imagination for the drivers. Everything happens quicker at night. Your sights, your reactions, everything just feels quicker. And here goes Shawnee Brimblecombe, the hairbrush. Lindsay Muddle taking him away for his final lap here in qualifying.
Yeah, so down towards turn one, a very high speed left-hander as you head under the banner. Get ready for braking. Just a dab of the brakes down to fourth gear. He gets a little bit too close to the wall there. A bit of corrective action in the mid-corner as you push down towards turn 3, 4 and 5. A very tricky sequence of corners. Just about to avoid the curb. He's out of a bit of a snap there. Does Brimblecombe as he goes through the medium speed left. Get the power out. A little bit slidey for Sean as he heads through towards the end of the first sector towards turn 7, the hairpin. He's trying to gear up here as he pushes through the hairpin, braking at the 300-yard board. Get it across over the curb, power out. First gear, he's sliding all over the place on the exit. Is it going to be an improvement? No, he's 8/10 down in the first sector, and I'd imagine that hope is slipping away in the cockpit of Brimblecombe as he heads into the middle sector now. Heavy on the brakes for turn 10, and then cut it through left, through turn 11, through Collier, and then get geared up for turn 12 and 13 into Tower Corner. Just get it down second gear, tip it across, get as close to the curb as you can without hitting it. It'll compromise your lap quite significantly as he gears up for the very tricky third sector, very on the limit, flat out through the left. He's 5/10 down in the middle sector. I don't think it's going to be a last second improvement here from Brimblecombe, but let's see what he can muster up. Very wide as he heads through turn 15 now into turn 16 and now down the Almond Straight towards the final corner where you can make or break a lap. Very easy to hit the outside wall on the exit as well. It's all these things you've got to be thinking about. It's one of the bumpiest corners in all of motorsport. So turn it across, dub the brakes, get it down third gear. Will he go down to second? No, he holds third and then power out across the line now. Brimblecombe is going to be trying to go faster. Is it going to be faster? It doesn't look like it, and it's going to be a 47.8 for Sean Brimblecombe, and I do not believe that's an improvement in the cockpit of the Toyota.
No, not at all, unfortunately, but he was quicker there, ladies and gents. He got quicker as the lap went on. That first sector was an absolute nightmare for Brimblecombe, but nonetheless, he finds himself in P4. And speaking of which, this is your grid, ladies and gents. Alex K taking the hypercar class by a country mile, 7/10 over Nicolas Gatero. Latanzio in third place, not even 500ths of a second between that's a tenth, sorry, between two of those in second and third, and the hairbrush only 600ths of a second between fourth and Latanzio. So look out for them too. Then we've got Vincent Tiansen, Chandra Gibbons, Wilkinson, Reese, and Austin round out your 11th time for the hypercars, and it dead set in last there for Sam Austin in class. Pete in the LMP2s is Marcus NG, Liam Curran, Jonathan Eaton, Tom Jones, and Ryan Norridge, Lindsay Muddle. Who have we got from here on?
So we then have, I can't even read, I'm blind, Jan Magnuson, Ethan Payno, then you have Wheatsel, then you have Begg, Robs, Brock, Rando, Gunther Rowe, Lachlan Andrews, Christian Wells, Ben Collins, but not the Ben Collins you'd think it is, Miles Johnston, then you have Harry Lawrence, and Peter Wall with his disqualification rounds out the 30. A very close qualifying session here in the Sebring International Raceway, and it really sets up what is going to be such a fantastic 3 hours ahead of us.
Oh, absolutely. As Lindsay chews down on some of the condiments that we receive here in the commentary box. Thank you to Lindsay Muddle Senior, and I'm chewing down on some. We've got what have we got here? We've got some bivalve mollusk. We've got some scallops. We've got some whale tongues, and just everything happening in the Lindsay Muddle household here. I'll tell you what, we're going to be well and truly nourished for the race coming our way. 3 hours, you'd bloody hope we are. And I'll tell you what, the Red Cordial is on here tonight in the com box too. So I reckon by the time Mr. Ron Marshall gets involved by the second hour, he will be sourced, because he sits around and watches us. And it is time now, ladies and gentlemen, for the racing to be had. And I'll tell you what, this is exciting, Lindsay Muddle. We are getting very, very nervous here in the commentary box, but also filled up. And 3 hours racing, this is going to go anyone's way here with 4 classes on the circuit. Wowee! 1 minute and 5 seconds left before countdown. Give us your predictions in chat, ladies and gents. Who is going to take out each class? We've got Alex K on top overall here, and he's going to be flying as well. Marcus NG is your next leader of the pack in the LMP2 class. Then you've got Jan Magnuson as well, and 17th and 18th with Ethan Payno sitting a fair way back there out of place. Chris Weitzel taking out GD3, and I'm pretty sure there was a lone McLaren out there as well of Benny Collins, who took out pole position in the grand scheme of things for his class.
Yeah, it is going to be very, very close, with all the drivers quite close together. The only one that's potentially in doubt is the hypercar class, but that is only for the win as well. But Alex K, he always has fantastic qualifying pace. He has fantastic race pace as well. He has he has that edge where he just always is very, very fast. But there is always the opportunity for him to claw back through as well, and with his pace, if he does make a mistake. So with 3 hours ahead of us, the leaders or anybody else in the field will have a second chance. I'm sure of it. And Alex is going to be a big threat for the rest of the drivers. They can't let him get away. But if he does, there's always traffic to bring it back in as well.
Yeah, definitely. As we get set and ready here, ladies and gents, with the rolling start, we are all but waiting for the green flag to commence here. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Down the back straight of Sebring, these guys and ladies, if there are any out there, genuinely shitting bricks. Nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs will some of them be, especially the guys with mixed car classes around them at the back. And this is all on here. 3 hours of racing. Full balls to the wall action coming our way here at SimSational TV with myself, Zach O'Reilly, and Lindsay Muddle. We're only seconds away here before the green flag is waved. 3 hours of Sebring. Who's going to take the chockies? It's anyone's bet here. Alex K taking your pole position and leading them down the front straightaway. It's green flag racing, ladies and gents, and Alex has absolutely blitzed him on the start. He has gone and sunken himself first into position there. You got some tussling around the back of the field as we see them all flow through, at least here for now. We've got Marcus NG taking over Ethan Payno there. There's some carnage too in the background. I can hear everything happening. There's already Nick Nielsen off the front, and he's gone. He is out of this. So the bad start for him too. Open lap already, carnage. Not even before we get to turn one. Oh no! That's another car off as well. It's all happening here. I cannot see what is going on. Ethan Payno struggling at the moment. Norwich is making his way through, and all the hypercars have seemed to got through, bar a couple of the shouting at the moment. Chris Weitzel, however, is doing very, very well in the GT3 class, just taking out some of these guys and leading the way over. Greg Brock in that brilliant-looking Porsche with the Spitfire-esque livery as well. He's circulating beautifully here, but it's still Alex K out in front by 0.8 of a second in the hypercar class, leading this field. ultimately by a country mile already. And it's going to be a very, very hard battle here for this man, Liam Curran. He got taken out there at turn 1, got involved in all of the crashing and bashing. He's got to make his way back through the field here too, as we round the second half here of Sebring. And Alex Kay has just driven the wheels off this thing. He is gone. No one is within 3 seconds of him already, if you don't mind. And that is a half and a shout, I would say a shout and a half if I can speak correctly, of what the trend could possibly be in the hypercar class. But still, it is very, very close here with all the GT3 cars circulating around here at Sebring. 16 corners nearly negotiated here for the final time. Nicholas Guerrero sitting in second place as we round the final turn here at Sebring. A triple right-hander, if you want to call it, triple apex. Nail the first one, get the second one right, and then exit onto the third beautifully here. And that is 1 lap done here, Lindsay Muddle. Already, Alex Kay leading by 3 and a bit seconds.
Yeah, he is absolutely pulled away. I can imagine Guerrero, Brimblecombe and Latunzio were battling quite heavily for a gap like that to expand. As we move back to the LMP2, we are looking at Ryan Norwich as he is just trying to survive, but he has a GTP car behind him that's going to be pushing on as fast as he can go. A couple of the hypercars started out the back as well because of a couple moments at the race start, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they can get through before we even have lapped traffic as well, trying to get past the LMP2 cars as well. The pace between the classes is going to be something to consider heavily, but a lot of carnage off the start, a lot of cars spinning around and flying off into walls, but for the most part I think a lot of the grid managed to get through us further up there. That was a Cadillac going down the inside of his fellow hypercar counterpart, not quite sure who it was, but just trying to find his way through. But the LMP2 class looking quite contested at the moment, but Norwich definitely looking like he's the one to win out at the moment, quite clear of Marcus NG for now, who's stuck in just a little bit of traffic. So is Liam Curran as well, who's trying to go the long way around of Greg Brock in the Rexy Porsche 911 RSR. And then next on his list is the Ferrari 488. So he's just got to carve his way back through this field, and he'll be more than happy to do so. He has 3 hours. He doesn't need to rush. Nobody on this grid needs to rush. It's just all about trying to survive and just keep a consistent pace while doing it, because if you drop off too far, the cars behind will bite, and they'll bite hard.
Oh, definitely. And if you don't want to get caught up in any battles that you don't need to be, 3 hours is a long time to avoid that. And you can think about it very, very cleanly and quickly too, ladies and gents. Don't worry about that. We're going to be on this man, Peter Warwash, watch, and he is coming up at the back of a LMP2 car as well of Jonathan Eaton. So right from the back, our DQer disqualified in qualifying, starting right from the very back of the grid and already finding himself up in 23rd place. That's a very, very nice spot to be at the moment. And he's going to make his way past 2 cars on the perfect place to do it too, down a straightaway here at Sebring. And he's going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep that car and get it back up into the fighting places where the hypercar classes should be at this moment. And speaking of which, it is all on like Donkey Kong here for Ethan Payno, because he is out. And he is spun around once more as Ethan Payno, feeling exactly that at the moment. His last name living up to standards. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to driving, it is not a place you want to be. The red mist descending and locking a brake and still trying to gather his mental capacity back to race on, rather than trying to get him back into a stable mindset of calm, cool and collectiveness. And Ethan Payno, poor old bloke, he's just sitting out there in 16th at the moment, driving around and trying to make his way back through the field here. And those cars sound absolutely SimSational, if you don't mind. There are so many different classes and different engine sounds too, and it's happening here again. We've got a battle here up the front. We've got Ryan Norwich, who are battling over the top 10 here with Magnussen and Austin, all within their wheelhouse at this point in time. Looking very, very racy at the moment. The Cadillac versus the Porsche is definitely Yanks versus German here, and who's going to come out on top? Not too sure, but it looks very, very pointy at the moment. That Cadillac just apexing beautifully in comparison to his compatriots in front. Driving the absolute tits off that car at this point in time is, I'll tell you what, the man, the legend himself, Mr. Magnussen. And when you draw right on board with him, you can see he's just pointing the nose, just giving a little bit of someone to think about in front of him. And I reckon by the time Mr. Austin thinks that it's all over by the shouting, there's something else. Oh, there's another car off too. There in the background, yellow flag. I think that was, no, it wasn't. I thought it was Jonathan Eaton. I'm completely wrong. But it's still on here at the moment. Magnussen has dropped off the back there of Austin. Oh no, he's got past Austin right on the back there too. So cracking driving from the both of them. It's awesome to see these guys flicking them around and making sure that they can get past on their compatriots, Lindsay, when the time counts.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, the car spinning in front of them definitely would have been a slight distraction as well from all of it going on, all the battling. Sam Austin just lost out to Magnussen, but he'll be chasing once again. There's 2 hours 53, 40 seconds to chase once more, but definitely slowing down just a little bit compared to the cars that have overtaken him and are now in front of him, as already he's trying to put the pressure now onto Gibbons. In front of him is Magnussen. He's putting all the pressure onto his fellow Cadillac in crime. It's red versus yellow here as they head through into the hairpin now. One of the trickier corners. Oh no, that's not the hairpin, that's turn number 10 as they head through. Collier, Sebring, sometimes just looking slightly the same at some of the corners, but on the track it definitely is not. All the corners very different. That's a massive lock up there from Magnussen, and that's going to put him right back in the sights of Austin as they push through the middle sector and now towards the third sector, and he's going to be battling on, really struggling to catch back up to the Cadillac in front of him, but he will do it. He's shown that he's had the pace already, so he's just going to chase Gibbons back down and continue this fight as they head through. Down the Ullman Straight is going to be all eyes in front of him. He can't be looking in his mirrors, or the cars behind will all begin to catch up, as I believe the blue Cadillac that we saw spin off at the final corner was Wilkinson, who's now made his way back up to P10, and that's really not the way you want to be starting your endurance race, but it is just the way it goes sometimes. But you've always got time to claw back through as they finish a lap of Sebring here and continue to push on, but not a mistake that you want to make. You don't want to be locking up, flat spotting your tyres here in these hypercars. It makes them extremely hard to drive and can severely affect your pace as well.
Oh yeah, they'll end up being like a 50-cent coin, as Mark Scaife says. In real life stuff, they'll be vibrating that steering wheel something chronic, ladies and gents. You don't want to have that for 3 hours of racing. I'll give you that tip. When it comes to pit stops, you'll be thanking the Lords up there that you have got perfectly round tyres on the front wheels of your race car. That's exactly how it is. Pretty simple stuff, but nonetheless, it's all happening. And Ryan Norwich is holding his own. He is completely out of class. He is 12th place overall, and Jamie Rees is a fair way away from him, 10 and a bit seconds. So we're going to have to look out for that battle once Jamie catches up to Ryan Norwich. That could be something to behold there too. And the other two guys out of place is Peter Wall and Ethan Pano, and they're coming right up on the back here of Liam Curran now. This is exciting, multi-class racing. Liam Curran's gone to slide and he's around. And Liam Curran's hit into the back of him, and they're all around at the back there too. That was also Pano. Oh, he's still feeling it. Tell you what, this guy needs some bandages. Call the emergency. He's been all sorts. Give him the green stick or something. He cannot get himself back onto the track where he needs to be, and just finds himself in a place where it thinks it's all going to come to fruition, and it does not happen. Poor old Ethan Pano in all sorts of stuff here, and he's off again. Wow, he absolutely dishevelled here is Ethan Pano. He's just got to hold on and keep racing. 2 hours and 51 minutes left to go here. It's a long shot before you get to somewhere that you think it's time to give it quits. Don't do it yet, son. Keep racing on, as Chris Weitzel here is doing, leading his own class by 2.3 seconds here over Tyson Robb. So great drive from him, and a cracking looking livery, as Lindsay said earlier too. Fluorescent, can't miss that in the rear view mirrors or in your front visor as well. Tinted or not, that thing would stand out like a dog's dick. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to racing, we've got to thank this man, Greg Brock, for putting it on, and also Shawnee Brimblecombe too, because these guys make this session happen and get all the races. Oh, there's cars off. I just heard something in the background. That looked hairy. Not too sure if that was picked up on the racing stream or not, but there was some crashing and smashing in the background from another part of the circuit. That could be interesting to look at. But this man, Greg Brock, racing around 4th overall in Class 2, mind you, albeit 23rd on the racetrack. Just driving the tits off that Porsche, and it seems like the Porsche is the better car here for Greg Brock, Lindsay.
Yeah, the RSR always very, very competitive, but with a mix of GTEs and GT3s. Normally, the GTEs are a bit quicker, and we're seeing that right now with the leader just running away from Tyson Robbs. But then, interestingly enough, in this GT mixed class, Tyson Robbs still in P2, with some of the GTEs struggling to catch up. It is a driver's car without ABS, whereas the GT3s have all the fancy stuff, the TC, the ABS, all the works. And it's definitely creating quite an interesting sort of atmosphere in the GT class, because theoretically those GTEs can go faster, but it's very much a case of driver, and we're seeing that now. Some of the quicker drivers in the GT3 still very much able to mix it in with those GTEs as they struggle with things like lockups and braking. You can brake later in the GT3 cars, and it's just making it very entertaining to watch here in the GT class.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can't get any better than that. And when you see all these drivers still trying to make their way through the field and get onto some sort of race mindset, so to speak, having a bit of dyslexia tonight here, ladies and gents, you know when you can and can't make a move and just give up the ghost and let someone else through. And I think that's what Brocky's finding at the moment, with Harry Lawrence right behind him in the Ferrari, just trying to catch up onto the back of him and creeping ever so closely. 0.4 of a second is now the gap between them, and you wouldn't believe it, that is the closest gap on the circuit so far here already. So we're looking at these guys trying to keep up, on hold of the back bumper of any car in front of them leading in their class to gain a position, and it looks like Harry is doing very, very well. Plenty of stuff to happen yet, says Ron Marshall in the chat. Absolutely right there, Ron. It's going to be a long event here for these drivers. It's going to be quick for us here in the commentary box, because it's absolutely sensational to be calling it here. And thank goodness gracious me, someone has come down and got upon me today and said, you're going to have a co-commentator tonight. And Lindsay Muddle appeared out of nowhere like a thief in the night and said, I'll be around, boy. And here we are, ladies and gents. If you're loving what you see here and what we do at SimSational TV, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And if you have a few spare bits of cash as well to give away to us as well, that would be very much appreciated to pay off the $3,500 rig that we have both invested in to get this stream looking magnificent for you all here, Lindsay.
Yeah, it is definitely well appreciated, the support, but I mean, Zach, you would have been absolutely loving it, whether you were solo or not, but I reckon your throat might have been yelling at you from down below.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting. But I came out of nowhere and I said, hey, I'm around if you want me, and you said, very much so, and now we're here, the duo, like we were back in Brazil for the ASA LMU series, which obviously we've seen a little bit of insight into what these drivers' paces are. From that, it's 1 hour race is very different in how they play it out to a 3 hour race. It's all about fuel conservation when you get into those 1 hour races. There's already a little bit of traffic going on, struggling to get past the McLaren is Tiensen as he pushes along in the GTP car, but he finally gets through with the bumper going on. And yeah, it is very interesting to watch all of these cars lap around this circuit, and it's definitely good to be calling it as well. So definitely we're not going to be disappointed. So all of the action we get in LMU is always really interesting, but something that's even more interesting with ESO is the fact that we see drivers in other classes across the two series, because Lawrence is normally in an Alpine hypercar, and here he is in the GT3s, and vice versa. A lot of other drivers doing the same, and not to mention somebody that we see in the ACC side of the world all the time, Steve Reese, in the 296, like he is all the time on ACC, is on the grid in P14 fighting away in that GT class. So also people coming across sims for these events.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're speaking of that too, and past winners also, this man, where is he? Christiansen, not him. It was Harry Lawrence himself. This man was the guy at Interlagos, Lindsay Muddle, who came through from P6 in the hypercar class and took the chockies with some beautiful fuel-saving strategies there, and just said, thank you, mother, for the rabbits. I'll take yous all on, and smashed it through. So a bit of different driving styles from all of them, and cross-platform, cross-gaming, cross whatever you want. We've got some BeamMG experts as well, I know that, who've come across to LMU and ACC as well. So BeamMG doing its best thing to give these guys some sort of what a feel of a simulation is as well. So cracking to see. But LMU is where it's at here tonight. And Ryan Norwich, I'll tell you what, Lindsay, he is still, he's 12th overall, and he is leading his class by an absolute country mile. Peter Wall and Jamie Reese are behind him, catching him ever so slightly, but the next guy on track between him is Liam Curran in his class, and that is a good 20 seconds away from any threat here for Ryan Norwich. He's driving the tits off this thing.
Yeah, it was very, very close in qualifying, but now we're here to the racing action, whether it be because of a couple mistakes or maybe something we didn't see coming around lap 1 as well in the LMP2 class. They've become very separated and now just trying to negotiate the traffic. It's not really closing back down. It could be also pit strategy as well. you do see a little bit of a difference when it comes to people, how much fuel they want to put in the car. You'd imagine maximum tank, but some people try different things, and also there are tyre compounds in all of these cars as well that they could be causing a difference in pace as well between all of the cars. So it's just all the questions you've got to be asking in any race, but especially once you get into the over 2 hour long races, it becomes a question of who's on what strategy and when, and we're really seeing that across all the classes as well, not just the LMP2, because Alex K might be 7 seconds clear, but he's normally very quick, but not 7 seconds in only a couple of laps. So the question also is, how are these drivers fuel saving and preparing towards the end of this race? Will it close back up like we see ever so often in the ASA LMU series as well towards the end of the hour, or will it just be all the same old, same old? I think that's something we've got to see and find out here.
Yeah, definitely. And with only 17 minutes of racing action gone, with 2 hours and 43 odd left to go, it's anyone's bet who's going to be on the front row of their classes by the time it finishes. And when it comes to Sebring, it's a hairy track at the best of times, and then when you've got cars to pass, cars to navigate around at the best times, to put in your brain, when can I pass this bloke? All right, I might hold back here on the straight, because holding me up mid-corner will hamper me even more so than being on a straightaway, and just get him at the next one. It's all those little things, the 1%ers that you've got to think about as well in terms of track position. Here as a racer and former racer myself here, it's good to have a lot of expert knowledge with Lindsay Muddle here in the commentary box, and watching all these guys trying to read their minds as they race around the circuit. It's very, very interesting to see. And you can see the pace difference there. That is Ryan Norridge getting lapped there by Mr. Wall himself in Peter. So, well, no, overtaken, in fact, actually. So Peter Wall has taken P12 off Ryan Norridge, finally caught the back end of Ryan Norridge in that. And then Jamie Rees is a little bit away. He's about 10 seconds away from the rest of them. So he's got to get onto the back and form up single file, as they should, with the hypercars versus every other class on the track, to get himself back up to where he should be. But Norridge doing very well, and yeah, that was a mistake there from Jamie Rees, so he had to pull that up pretty quick. But Chris Weitzel, however, yeah, Paul Britt's not in the race, so guess what? Chris Weitzel's going to be taking the provisional chockies here at the moment, and hopefully for the rest of the night. Tier 2, Lindsay Muddle, seen him in the LMU Monday series as well, come very, very close to a win and battle away there with Paul Britt too. So this guy here is driving the wheels off it, and he's got a 4-second gap between any threat and himself, which is Tyson Robbs, the next guy on the circuit there too as well. And you can see the differences between the cars, how they drive these things through Sebring itself. Very, very late throttle tracing and trail braking there too from Chris Weitzel himself. Just different sort of esque of driving that takes it, and that's what Harry Lawrence is finding out there too. Albeit at the moment, he's third overall in his class, so doing a very, very good job indeed. And we can watch these guys for hours on end just going around the circuit here at the moment, and I'll tell you what, it's probably a good time to think about what the predictions will be for the rest of the race in chat. Lindsay Muddle, I reckon I've got my money here on Alex K to take the win in the hypercar class. I know we've got 3 hours of racing still to go, 2 hours and 40 minutes, but Ryan Norridge is leading the way and leading it very, very strongly for that. What are we going to see between the GTEs and the GT3s?
It all depends on what the pit stops are like between all of the GT cars. Obviously, we have P1 being a GTE car, P2 is a GT3 car, and then I don't know what Gunther Rowe is in the P3 of the GT3 cars. He is also in a
Corvette.
GTE Corvette. So, yeah, it's a GT3 car, and then the leader is a GTE. So very interesting stuff, and I think that pit stops will come down to it as well. I don't remember what the difference in their tank sizes are, if it's pretty similar, because I know that the LM GT3 class is quite different to the normal GT3s that we see on the likes of ACC and iRacing as well. So different fuel tank sizes and stuff. So my knowledge potentially not as good as you leaned on me in the Bathurst 12 a couple of months ago, but still. Very interesting to break it down, and also just being a little bit of mystery. LMU is still such a new sim, and as much as every single race we learn something new, we find another thing that the drivers can do to make their racing ever so better. Is in the background, that was a Ferrari hypercar going on the grass to overtake the P4 GT3 car, and just a little bit of scary stuff there for Peter Wall as he tries to lap these GT3s.
Yeah, look at the pace difference there. Just sails around the outside or up the inside, whichever way you want to talk about it. versus a GTE car or a GT3 car as well, mind you, doesn't matter which one. They're just absolutely singing to the high heavens, these guys, by the time they get around and make another circulation here at Sebring. And speaking of LMU being a newer series, ladies and gents, it is not our internet connection, I can guarantee you that. That is giving these cars a little bit of a floaty thing. LMU being so new on the scene, still has European-based service, so we are operating at 300 ping here tonight. And that's the best quality we can possibly get, being Australia's NBN, being what it is, and inferior as some would like. But nonetheless, sometime in the future we will see some sort of Australia service get launched here from LMU, watching the transfer from ACC coming their way pretty damn quickly. And R Factor 2 as well, which is what this game is based off, doing a very good job at developing themselves into the best sim once again, as it used to be with R Factor Original. That was the place to be for sim racing way back in the early 2000s, if you don't mind. That's how long they have been around. But doing a great job here at the moment is Peter Wall, sorry. Alex K, however. This is how you do it, ladies and gents. An onboard lap with him. Turn up the volume. Get it ready and sing. And we're going to be back here in the commentary box, taking a break here for just a few moments.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. That is an onboard lap with Alex K in the BMW hybrid hypercar, as he is about to get to some lapped traffic, a BMW M4 GT3 and a McLaren GT3 ahead of him as well, as just cutting through the field, as he's so used to doing multi-class racing, always providing an interesting experience. But Alex showing absolutely no concerns. He does this day in and day out. There's nearly a bit of contact as I say that, maybe a bit of commentator's curse going on as he heads down the straight to try and get back past the 720S with now an Aston GTE in front of him. So as he cuts through the GT3 field, the GT3 field getting ever closer, as well as Pano is in the pit lane, the first one to pull into the pits. As we know, he's been in quite a pain and probably has quite a bit of damage on his Porsche 963.
Yeah, he actually spun on the last lap that we looked on board with Alex K there, and Alex K had to take evasive action to get around him right at this point of the track, actually, right there, about one lap ago exactly. So again, something to think about in the grand scheme of things for Alex K. It's not going to be smooth and easy sailing for him tonight. It's probably going to be something when the pits come around, and it's going to induce some excitement back into this race, especially for the guys on board. And Alex K, be it, he's only 1/10 of a second off his PB in the middle sector. He had to get himself around a couple of lap traffic markers there in the first one. That's why his delta's off. But look at the consistency of him. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely taking the P155 here is Alex K. So what a great drive from him. It's absolutely sensational to see this guy just blitzing the field day in, day out, week in, week out as well, with a $48,000 sim rig. I reckon he's got on board there as well. He's got no excuses, as we said earlier, and he's just driving the wheels off this car at the moment. It's great to see him driving very, very well. I love to see it here, Lindsay Muddle. And speaking of driving well, it is still this man here leading the pack. The leader of the pack over Tyson Robbs is Chris Weitzel, albeit only by 5 seconds now. So a little bit of a gap starting to form between those two. It was 3 and a bit before. So driving the wheels off that is Chris Weitzel. He's got to make himself known to the rest of the field that I am the man, I am the myth, and I am the legend here in this class. So I've got to keep myself up there and make sure my pit strategies are on point. And you can see this pace difference there. Very hairy stuff there from Norwich, going around the outside, just trying to get that job done, and he does it very, very well indeed. That was some very good stuff there from Ryan Norwich, the leader, in fact, of the LMP2 class. Driving the wheels off that, he's sailing away. Liam Curran is 19 seconds away from him now, so just a bit of a Sunday drive coming up here, figuratively speaking. Or Saturday night, actually. It's not Sunday. I keep thinking it's Sunday. For this man on screen, Ryan Norwich. Lindsay Muddle.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a bit of a theme as we continue on into this race. The leaders are slightly pulling away, but maybe not so much in the hypercar class, as it went from 8 seconds to now 3.8 between Alex Kay and Chandra in the P2 Ferrari 499P hypercar, as they're all negotiating the traffic, and potentially that could be playing into it. Maybe Kay's been a bit unfortunate with the situations he's had himself in, but it's still closing down as we go further and further into the laps, and for it to close that much is very fascinating, as they're probably still another 30 minutes away from the first pit stop. So maybe tyre wear is coming into this as well. Maybe the BMW not so good on its tyres compared to the Ferrari, but we can only speculate here in the commentary boxes. That was a GT3 car in the wall at the final corner. Who would that be? I think that might be Gunther Rowe, potentially. We saw him earlier on. Yeah, he has dropped off the timing tower. That is, if I'm correct here, will be Gunther Rowe at the final corner off into the barrier, which is not what you want to be doing, as he is going again and down towards turn 1. And yeah, I would hazard a guess and say that it was him. And I don't think you can park there, Zach O'Reilly.
You can't park there, sir. So I'm not too sure what he is doing at the moment. But yep, just getting out of the way. He's well and truly off his racing brain smarts at the moment. So we'll see what he can do for Rowe. But yeah, this one and this man, poor old Ethan Payno. Wow, what an absolute shocker so far from him. 26 overall. And he is, at this stage, he is 12 places away from being on the back of Jamie Rees, who is second last in this class. So a massive night coming our way here for Payno. Can he celebrate with the green stick at the end of it and maybe get himself back into the top 10? Who knows in the hypercar class? It's anyone's guess once those pit stops come around. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure. And I reckon with these hypercars circulating around, it could be anyone's guess by the end of it. We've got some predictions in the chat there. How far would Alex Kay be in front by a pit stop? Oh no, there's Payno again, and he's well and truly in pain too. Sailing off into the bunda, finds the black stuff again. He's going to have to navigate his way back onto the circuit safely, and just does so. I'm not too sure what's going on with Ethan Payno. Generally not like this at the moment. And speaking of which, we've already got a person in the box of Jamie Rees here in the hypercar class in 18th, Lindsay.
Yeah, so the pit stops will now be underway, 30 minutes-ish into this race, and I'd wonder if we're going to see anybody really fuel save and do the pit stop strategies we see in the 1 hour, or if we are going to see completely flat-out driving, pitting once every 30, 40 minutes. But Jamie Rees also could have come in for other reasons as well, potentially if he got into an incident that was off the camera, but I highly doubt it. I feel like the yellow flag would have been shown, as Wilkinson at the back of the hypercar field in the main train, just sitting ahead of Norwich and not going too slowly at the moment, so I doubt it was an incident there. But it's just all the question marks when you get into a 3-hour race, new sim, something we're very much not used to. It's just a big mystery.
It is. It's always a big mystery, and when you just see what 3 hours of racing happens, it's never over until that checkered flag is waved. I reckon prediction for me will probably be 15 odd seconds by the time he comes in the pit, but it's not looking that way because Chandra is hounding the back here now. It was 6 seconds, now it's 4, now it's 2. So 2.7 seconds between Chandra and Alex Kay. Maybe a bit of time management coming Alex Kay's way. He's just skipped away and just thought, oh, well, I might as well have a crack. He's gone off the grass there, onto the grass there, Chandra. So A little unforced error there from him too, so not too bad, but still, that has hurt him big time. He was gone from 2.6 now to 3.6 or thereabouts. One outing into the bunda costs you a second in the hypercar class. That's how quick they're moving. You can see by the direction change there, it's just absolutely ridiculous here as he comes up onto the back of Jonathan Eaton there too. So he is now onto the back of the LMP2 car classes already, albeit one lap down these guys, and he's just going to pull out of the way. There's Jonathan Eaton and sail down the inside. That was close to the wall. Whoa, that was wide apex. Going to have to get the brakes on and absolutely nail that exit. And so Eric Chandler does one more time around Sebring here. Comes across the front straight away, and 3.7 seconds between himself. We've got a yellow flag, ladies and gents, showing up there on your screen too, and that's disappeared. So nothing to worry about for anyone on circuit at the moment. But just the pace difference, you can see. Look how close and quick they get to these GT3 and GTE classes. They circulate around. It's just ridiculous. I think that is Mr. Robbs himself. It is. So John, that would be Tyson Robbs. He's just sailed past at a rate of knots and said, thank you, I'm taking that one back. And another lap on board with a hypercar car. And it's just, no, not a hyper. Yeah, it is a hypercar. I can't even think what I'm doing. 3.4 seconds now between Alex Kay and Chandler Lindsay Muddle.
Yeah, and it will begin to close once again. As we're seeing, it's already been 0.3 gain since the start of the lap. So Chandler really pushing his Ferrari. He needs to get back in 2 seconds and then continue from where he left off. And I'll tell you what, he's inside 2 seconds, nearly 3 seconds, but it is just kind of extending and closing as he goes through the lap. The traffic definitely causing some problems, but next up to lap will be the leading GT car of Chris Wheatsall in the Ferrari 488. So it's Ferrari on Ferrari action, but not in the hypercar class. It's between classes, but he's just got to get through past this GT traffic as fast as he possibly can, but it held up just a little bit as he goes down the inside, and he is losing time to Alex Kay as this clock ticks further and further on, as that is also a Peugeot hypercar in the background of the camera shot, and that is Latunzio. So this, oh, is it Latunzio? Hold on.
No, he's in the, what's he in?
No, he's in the Peugeot.
He's in the Peugeot. He is too.
That's him.
Yep, it is him. That
Yeah,
is.
we got the leader gap.
And here comes Latunzio, ladies and gents. This is close now. 0.5 of a second between them. Holy mackerel. This is what you want to see in the grand scheme of things. When you want to see onboard action, you got to come there. Liam Curran's just trying to go wide and keep it on the track at the same time, and he's circulating around in a different class. Now Latunzio has gone out a little bit between himself. It is now 1.1 seconds. Can he get around Liam Curran? Oh, Liam Curran's just done himself a mischief and absolutely nearly poleaxed himself into the side there, Latunzio. I'll tell you what, we saw Liam Curran say he's going to bump draft and punt people all race long if he has to. And he's doing probably half an impression to that at this moment. Now he's going to get past him as Latunzio over Liam Curran. He's still got Greg Brock to navigate around in front of him. So that is exciting stuff. We've got about 1.8 seconds now between them. Gets past him nicely. Thank you very much. Says, thank you, mother, for the rabbits. That wasn't Greg Brock, by the way. Sorry, I got that wrong. But now it's battle on here for Latunzio. Maybe around 2 here between himself and Chandra in the grand scheme of things. I hope that's coming to fruition, because that is going to build some excitement as Chandra has dropped off the back of Alex Kay. 5 seconds now between him. So that's exciting to see for the pit stop battles coming our way. Look at this guy, the singer himself, Tom Jones. You can leave your hat on. I'll tell you what, this guy's pulling it off at the moment. He's giving everyone a bit of curry as he gets around Mr. Rowe himself, and just gets it overshot as his brake marker, but manages to pull it up and get it on nicely tonight. It's good. Tom Jones sitting 3rd overall in class and only 2 seconds away from Liam Curran now, albeit a little bit less as we speak. So can that gap close between Liam Curran and Tommy Jones here? One of 5 cars on the track in the LMP2 class tonight. Good to see them back on circuit. They are magnificent looking machines. As oh geez Louise, that was close. I'll tell you what, that was very close to becoming a proper there, and I think this could be interesting here between himself and Gutierrez. Gutierrez just managed to make his way around cleanly, albeit be a little bit held up there on the LMP2 cars, but nonetheless the hypercar class are doing a very good job, and this man here is struggling, but he's made his way back up to 21st. Ethan Pano, focus of the night at the moment, could be donkey of the day if he keeps driving like he has been for the rest of it, Lindsay Muddle, but nonetheless at 21st overall. He is now only 9 places away from being onto the real back of the hypercar class here.
Yeah, he is going to be on the back of them, but I would believe, as they've got a lap on the GT3s and the LMP2s, I think he'll have to make laps back while he does it as well.
Oh, yes.
So it's going to be very difficult for him to actually climb back up through the field. But he's on the lap of the GT3s, but not the LMP2s. So he first has to get a lap back on the LMP2s, get a lap back again on them, and then he'll be closing up to the back of the hypercar train. So he has a long race ahead of him. It is really going to be head down stuff for Ethan Payno if he really wants to make his way back into this race. But meanwhile, up the front, Chandra and Latunzio haven't really closed back up together. They were very close at one stage, but one little mistake from the Peugeot after nearly coming to blows with an LMP2 car has just found him off the back and not really able to close back in super quickly, as is the nature of these hypercars. They're very sensitive on the tyres, and the second one thing goes wrong with them, it takes a couple of laps for it to come back into sorts and get back into momentum. Not just the car as well though, also the driver. After you take a trip off, it takes a couple of laps to shake that off and just get your head back down as well. It's all a mental game to go with all the racing action with your car as well. When you're in an endurance race, it's a very tricky race. 3 hours solo is no easy feat, and these drivers are really getting tested. Such a bumpy circuit. I think the only circuit that I know that even comes close to this circuit in bumpiness is another US track, Long Beach. Very, very bumpy as well. So a bit of a theme potentially with the US tracks, but it's very taxing.
Yeah, very taxing indeed, and it's just another testament to these drivers. 2 hours and 22 minutes to go here, and they've still got all of that left to play. How their arms going to feel being bumpy as well here at Sebring. It's going to be interesting. Latanzio versus Chandler, that's petered out. That's 3 seconds now, so nothing to see there, so to speak, for the rest of them. We'll go back to a little bit of a battle forming here at the moment between the Hairbrush and Magnussen too. They're looking very racy at the moment. The Toyota Gazoo Racing of Shawnee Brimblecombe, 147.992. That is the quickest lap of the race. He's doing 148.3. So only about 4/10 off was his personal best, is the Hairbrush himself. But he can ever see that Cadillac get a little bit closer there at Magnussen. And that should give him some sort of encouragement, I reckon. Some sort of, this could tickle my fancy. It just could give me something. And now you can see as they accelerate out of the corner, the speed they get up to, 4th gear, 5th gear already. It's just driving the absolute wheels off these things. He's only about 3/10 off his personal best overall on the lap. Great driving from Shawnee Brimblecombe. At this point in time, 21 minutes done out of 21 minutes, 41 minutes gone out of 48 minutes gone nearly out of racing done so far. And the Hairbrush is trying to climb onto the back here of Magnussen. It's 1.2 seconds now between these two. So something to see here, I would say, in the next lap or so. Bar one error coming Magnussen's way. Could be very, very interesting when the time comes. And you can ever see the different driving styles. Just a little bit later on entry there was the Hairbrush over Magnussen, and that's where that little icon above each driver's head pops up. You know that the gap is getting closer. The more you see that little box at the top of the driver, that means they are getting right up the gearbox, as Murray Walker would say. And it's going to be interesting to see. 7th place here, and 6th place is the little bit of a battle, and probably going to be held up a little bit here too is Magnussen, because he's got some lap traffic markers to navigate there. I think that is that Liam Curran in front of him? I'm not too sure, Lidge. I could not see there on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I do believe it was, as that is now on board with Magnussen. So just a bit up the road is Liam Curran, and it is definitely going to be interesting. We've seen Curran already in a bit of drama with the hypercar class, but all it takes is one little hold up from another car and Brimblecombe will be right on the back, as the gap currently about 1.2 seconds between Magnussen and Brimblecombe. So it's getting really, really testy between these two as they get closer on the track. It's really going to come down to who can push their car the hardest without making a mistake, without blinking first. And Magnussen doing a good job at the moment, but Brimblecombe having just a little bit of an edge, but it is extending and closing all the time. It's all very twitchy there for Magnussen in the mid-corner to go the long way round on a GT3 car just to get through, but he runs just a little bit deep, as that's a car in the background as well, who I think that is, that's Liam Curran.
Yes.
That is a pit stop, because there is 2 sets of pit lanes here in Sebring. There's the back straight. I had no idea where the pit entry was. I never even knew that existed, but diving off there at the long left, and then you have the main one for all of the hypercars and stuff on the front straight down towards turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. That's confusing enough as it is. Speaking of confusing, what are we going to see? Are the overcuts or undercuts going to be the king here? That's a good question, Ron Marshall, as well in the chat. Exactly that one. I'm not too sure. We saw that the overcut worked very, very well at Imola. I'll tell you what, that was something to behold for the GT3 cars. But what are we going to see from the rest of them? We're not too sure. It hasn't got any closer or further away. Maybe some time management coming away from Alex K, because it's gone from 8 seconds to 4 to 6 to 2, then back to 6. And then that's Greg Brockoff in the background there as well, just running wide after Chandler got past him. But now it's only 3 and a bit seconds between Chandler and Alex K. These two, realistically, 3 seconds over 2 hours and 18 minutes left of racing is not a long way away in the grand scheme of things. So could be just a little bit of lap traffic battling to go on. Sebring's not the widest of circuits, and with triple left-handers, double right-handers as well here, you've got to get your marking right, and sometimes luck has to go your way on wherever you can be once you get up to a bit of lap traffic as well. And all three of these guys here, Tommy Jones, Liam Curran, and Jonathan Eaton, are now exiting the pitch. You can see them in the background there. The 3 LMP2 cars are driving the wheels off these cars, and Ryan Norridge himself has not come into the pit. So this could be interesting. We're going to have to see what happens between these 3 drivers. One is Tom Jones. The second is Liam Curran, who is in front of him at the moment, and Jonathan Eaton too, albeit a fair way back there though. By the time they get out of the pits and the pace that they just exhume from these engines, I'll tell you what, it's all over by the shouting before you know it. One mistake, one little pit stop blunder, and you could find yourself at least a good 3 or 4 seconds behind the person in front of you, who was only 3/10 away, mind you.
Yeah, especially if you're an LMP2 car or somebody that hasn't practiced that pit lane entry, trying to find it might be a bit of a nightmare, I would imagine. I know that I'm one of those drivers that catches themselves just a little bit when they come into a race. I sometimes forget to check for where the pit lane entry is, and especially in a case like Sebring where there's 2 different entries, it could make it quite entertaining if somebody misses it or runs out of fuel, and it would spice up the race just that little bit. But Tom Jones really chasing down at the moment Liam Curran in the car in front of him, so he's just got a little bit to chase at the moment, but a lapped car in front of him as well. But Liam is right there, so close between the two of them after the pit stop, so it's going to be all racing between these two. But the LMP2 on board now. Let's just look at how the car drives. A lot of wheel work is required to get these cars to work. Just look at him soaring away on the steering wheel, just trying to get it tipped through. It's very active on the steering. It reacts to bumps very, very heavily, but it also takes them very well. It's just all about how the driver can manage it. So over the curb, you'll see him just bolt the steering lock on, and then it's all wobbles and micro corrections through the middle of the corner, and that is just the beauty of the LMP2. It has that nice balance of power and downforce that just makes it ever so tricky, and also getting it right under braking as well. And that's what we're seeing. Curran just doing a little bit better than Jones at the moment, just pulling away ever so slightly. Very much a driver's car, as I've repeated a couple of times this broadcast, and I think you'll hear me say it just a couple more times, because these cars are truly spectacular as they push along. The hypercars, GTEs and GT3s also very, very nice, and the GTEs are sort of the LMP2 car of the GT category as well in the way that they drive. Just look at all the active wheel work. He nearly hit the inside wall. Tom Jones maybe pushing just a little bit too hard at this stage.
Yeah, maybe just pushing those tyres fresh off the pit box as well, and they want to nurse those tyres at the opening complex of their wear rate, because they tend to just go backwards a little bit at the end if you abuse them. They get a bit hot, you start scrubbing the compound a little bit too hard, and then it loosens off everything too quickly by the time you get around, and you've ended up getting a slicker tyre rather than a nicely bedded in compound. So something to think about there for Tom Jones. You can leave your hat on for now, mate, but try and keep it, try and take it off. And take it off Liam Curran's head as well. He's got blue flag markers on his background as well. I think that is this man, Jamie Rees. It is. So Jamie Rees is coming through in 16th overall. The next person on his class is 12th place Sam Austin, albeit a long way away, 2 laps down as well. And you can see lap traffic markers get away with Guterro just driving straight past him. So thank you. So that's a pace difference there between the front runners there, ladies and gents, albeit and the last runners in the hypercar class. It's just incredible to see as well. One person we haven't focused on for a while, but seems to be doing all right here, is Harry Lawrence, taking another step into a foreign car and just seeing what he possibly can do there. And he's doing all right. Third overall in his... No, he's not. His second overall in his class. That is incredible stuff. Just to jump in and just say, bugger you, hypercars. I'm going to go for a GT3 crack and sit second overall in your class is something definitely to behold, and it's a credit to him. What can he do? He was the strategical masterclass gentleman of Interlagos in a hypercar. Just came through and said, thank you, I'll take that on and get in. We can see some pit runners there too. Kay and Magnussen are in the pits. Lindsay Muddle. That is interesting. They've just formed in after each other. So a long stop coming Alex Kay's way as he jacks that car up now onto all four wheels. That inherits Chandra, the lead of the race. This could be the undercut or overcut question that we saw there from yourself, Ron Marshall, in the chat as well. So we'll see what is happening. Speaking of the chat, get involved, ladies and gents. Come and talk to us. Just talk nonsense. We don't care. We'll get the hypothetical questions out with 2 hours and 13 minutes of racing. There is going to be that point where it gets a little bit spread out and we think about what is going to happen next, but it's happening now, and we'll answer any of those hypothetical questions, maybe some 420 questions as well if you're inclined that way. Not too sure, not that I am, but that could be interesting. Lindsay Muddle and Eric Chandra driving the wheels off his Ferrari. He's in the lead here over Latanjo by 8 seconds, and he's just taken a shortcut there. That is into the pits. Here we go. The second pit entry of Sebring, and he is now coming in. That is going to be interesting. We're gonna have to watch here for Alex Kay and see where he pops out, Lindsay.
Yep, so it is going to be really interesting. We know that the hypercars with very extreme fuel saving can just about go an hour, but Kay decided not to go for the hour, which is going to be, it's going to create implications in the later stages of the race. I think a pit stop with 20 minutes to go could be ahead of us depending on how long he decides to push this car, but Chandra decided to go one lap later. Same with Latanzio and Guerrero, but now everybody's been into the pits. Kay is pushing through the hairpin. The pit lane very long here with that particular pit entrance. You got to go all the way through the back of the paddock and weave your way back out as well. So finding your pit box if you get lost could be a little bit tricky, but we'll see where Kay comes out in all of this. Wittner now takes the lead because he hasn't pitted just yet. Same with Tiansen as well. So all eyes are currently on Alex Kay as he pushes around this Sebring International Circuit, a 5.8718 kilometer circuit, and he's pushing for every single meter of it as he heads around the lap, and that's what he's got to do to get back into the lead of this race, to hold on to the lead of this race over the course of the 3 hours. But you've also got to stay consistent and keep that in mind as well. So he pushes past where we know the pit lane entry now is, and Kay and now heads onto the Ullman Straight as all eyes go to it now, and he's passing a bunch of hypercars who are in the pits. That includes Gibbons, Guerrero, Brimblecombe, but where has Chandra come out of all of this? He rounds the final corner, exits the pit lane now. Has he jumped Kay? I think he has. Maybe he's put a little bit less fuel in. That's Alex Kay at the final corner now. So Chandra is your new race leader. He's pulled the strategy to absolute perfection, ladies and gentlemen. Could be potentially some fuel, but nonetheless, Chandra is now your race leader, and Alex Kay will be chasing tail.
Ooh, that's interesting. I told you it'd spice up, ladies and gents, come the pit stops, and Eric Chandra just driving the tits off that thing. Maybe some fuel, maybe something else. We just don't know. Maybe under fuel for the first stint and then go long for the last one. Who knows? But he is effectively the leader of the race, and you saw some hypercar cars in the background. That was Magnussen and Gibbons in the pit box as well coming through. So this is interesting. This is your effective leader of the race, and Alex Kay at the moment is 6.3 seconds away from anything coming Alex Chandra's way. So could be one of those things where we see maybe a powerful overcut has worked here at Sebring. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very, very interesting. I'm excited. Lindsay Muddle's excited. Viewers out there, you should get excited too. We've still got 2 hours and 10 minutes of racing to go, but nonetheless, it's already happening here for the first stint. And with everyone else in front of him, Christiansen, Jesus has come into the pits, and he is boxing, and so is Benny Vintner too, and Peter Wall also circulating through now into their pit boxes. So we're seeing the rest of it happen. And Eric Chandler is going to come around and overtake these guys here right now. Straight into P1. Alex K, where is he? He is now... Oh, geez, Louise, this is incredible. He is now only... Whoa, hang on. Is that correct? Or
Yeah,
no.
I think so.
Has it? Is it? I can't.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, it is.
4.8
Sorry, it is. 5 seconds now. It was 7. Now it's under 5 seconds, ladies and gents. Ooh, this is exciting. The overcut has worked so far, Ron Marshall. Now it's all up to Chandra to keep the wheels on the road and make sure every apex is nailed, because he has got a very angry man right behind him. Alex K, knowing he got the strategical masterclass done over with the overcut, and he's wanting to get it onto the back here of Eric Chandler straight away. I'll give you the hot tip. Ryan Norridge is still circulating around, leading the field in the LMP2 cars and driving this car beautifully. I actually don't know what the model is. That is a commentator error on that one. If Lindsay Muddle can help me, it looks like an Orica or something. I'm not too sure.
Orica 07.
It is an 07. Okay, I half got the advantage. The answer right there, and we'll keep pressing on and watching him at the moment. He is 1 lap down over the hypercar class, but generally just driving the wheels off that as well. Our leader still in the GT3 class is this man, Chris Whitesell. And he is a fair way off anyone being a threat to him. But I think everyone else is pit, because the next man on track behind him is Begg, who is begging at the moment for a podium. And then we've got the runner of the series, Greg Brock, in 3rd place, driving the wheels off this thing at the moment, Lindsay.
Yeah, and some pit stops have been made as well in that GT3
Yes.
class. I think we've seen Tyson Robbs come into the pit lane, which is why we haven't seen him anywhere near that top 3 at this current moment of the races. There's a yellow flag somewhere around the circuit. Sebring catching out another victim at this stage as Greg Brock gets a lap back over him on Alex K. Gets overtaken by the hypercar, which he'll be ever so used to by the end of this race. But Alex has a lot of work to do, but he's closing in very quickly on Chandra, as that is Latunzio now down the inside. So this field very close together now in that top 3 of the hypercar class. So you have 3 seconds from Chandra to K, and then only another 3 seconds from K to Latunzio. So this top 3 getting very, very close as we head through the second pit stops. And the way that Chandra was able to get through wasn't overcut as we saw, but it's because of the no tyre warmers. The cold tyres on the outlap are absolutely critical, and it also means that K, when he first came around the final corner, was probably somewhere near 8 seconds behind Chandra. But over the course of the lap, he got to 5 seconds, and then ever since it's been closing in. We know that he's the faster car on pure pace at the racetrack, but with the cold tyres, he just got undercut. But he'll just slowly close back in and it'll correct itself. And that's the beauty of these hypercars. It's ever changing. Is also Sam Austin in P4. I'm not sure if he's yet to pit. I would believe he's came into the pit lane, as Wittner is right behind him. We know he's come into the pit lane as well, as we'll just get the number of stops up on the screen in a moment. There we go. No, Austin has not come into the pit lane. That is why he's so far up the order. But it looks like everybody else on the timing tower has come into the pit lane. So Austin doing some mega fuel saving at the moment in that Porsche 963, and he'll continue to work with it, but he'll definitely find himself falling down just a little bit when he comes into the pit lane. We're not quite an hour yet here in Sebring, but it's all kicking off since the pit stops. And Alex K, 1.8 seconds behind Chandra, still pushing on, as over the rear wing, Chandra will just be checking his rear views and hoping that he doesn't see a BMW getting closer, but it always is here as they head down the Ullman Straight towards turn 17, and a little bit of traffic as well could get involved. The GTE Aston just gets out of the way as they head into the final corner. Chandra gets past, but K is really closing in. He's reeling him in. It's like a fish hooked onto a rod at the moment. Alex K just trying to reel him in, but Chandra won't give up without a fight as he heads through into the first corner on board with Alex K. Let's just see how hard he pushes that hypercar. 5th gear, very wide. We've seen Alex K go wide there in qualifying, but he's just really pushing that BMW to its limits. Just look at the wheel work. He just has that car under his finger. It's unreal, the rails that car is on when really pushed to the limit, and that is why Alex K is so dominant, and he is now within a second of Chandra, and it's going to be game on here between these two. But now the question is, at a track that isn't super easy to overtake, where is K going to do it? Is he going to do it at turn 1? Will he do it at the turn 7 hairpin? Will he even try a turn 10 or final corner move if he's feeling brave. It's all for us to find out as the gap closing ever more and more. And it's now underneath 0.6 of a second. Alex K arrives on the scene. Chandra will now be staring in his rear views. He can no longer look forward. He needs to look behind. It is going to take some defense to hold off the charging BMW.
Oh, definitely. Have a look at the pace difference between them too. The apex speed is incredible. And now we've got lap traffic in front. That is Lachlan Andrews in front of the BMW. Oh, that's how spicy stuff. This is probably the optimum place to maybe make an overtake. But I'll tell you what, Wells is definitely in the way of everyone in front of it, behind him, sorry. And Alex K and Chandra get past him. But Chandra's wide. Chandra is 100% wide there. And this is a drag race now, ladies and gents, here into the 2 hours and 4 minutes section. Alex K has got the chockies here. He's got the position advantageously on the circuit. Neck to neck down the back straightaway. Oh, they nearly touched too. Oh, this is hairy stuff from the both of them. Wowee, cracking driving and racecraft from the both of the drivers in Alex K and Mr. Chandra and Eric. Wowee, that is stuff that we want to see everywhere in the sim racing land. But Alex K resumes the lead of this race. And I'll tell you what, Chandra put up a good fight for a long time there. Just couldn't get the chockies done and in time. And Alex K is probably going to think about this clean air in front of him and skip away, albeit that was a little bit of a slide there from Alex K. So maybe something to think about there for Chandra too. But BMW versus Ferrari, I'll tell you what, it's definitely advantageous for the BMW at this moment. Cracking stuff, and a 47.592 is the best lap from Alex K versus Eric's 148.3. So nearly 0.8 of a second between the two of them on fastest lap pace. And it's no wonder that Alex K has just taken on board and skipped off into the distance here overall in the hypercar class. Wowee, that was awesome to see, Lindsay Muddle. Cracking stuff here. 2 hours and 3 minutes left, nearly at that stage where we are third through the race. And it is still. Now, Ryan Norwich in front and leading. Overall, in his class, he has got a long way between anyone threatening him in Liam Curran, that's for sure. Marcus NG also in tooth and nail battle here between himself and Jonathan Eaton. Jonathan Eaton just went wide there. It was only 1/10 of a second. So maybe that was an overtake. We just missed the back. Oh, that's in the wall there for Marcus NG, and he's lost it completely. And now Jonathan Eaton's going to sail straight back past him. Is there any damage on board there for the man himself? I'm not too sure if Marcus has got any damage. Doesn't look like it, albeit we can't see any telemetry to see what damage they have got. But that wouldn't have been friendly to the aerodynamics of that LMP2 car, and he's just sailing onto the rear end bumper there of Jonathan Eaton. This is a cracking battle. You can see the seesawing again with the wheel work here by the both of them. Just trying to keep both cars on the circuit and managing to keep it clean as well, albeit an unforced error there for Marcus NG. Jonathan Eaton has skipped away a little bit here too. What can they do? Where's Tom Jones? He's way behind them. 21 seconds away from any threat, so don't stress about them. Jesus, it's all happening here at this point in time. Jonathan Eaton sailing and keeping it clean on the track, and I reckon a bit of damage there for Marcus NG. That's going to happen to give himself some sort of pace advantage over the course of the race, Lindsay Muddle.
Yeah, and it's such an easy thing to do. The final corner at Sebring, one of the trickiest in motorsport. The car is bouncing up and down, and you feel like you're forward driving, but you're in reality on a racetrack, and he's managed to be caught out and hit the wall, and it didn't look like initially he had too much damage, and you don't see too much visually either in LMU, but he definitely does. He's very far down in a straight line. I'm not sure how much it's affecting the cornering, but definitely when he goes onto the straight, he loses some time. We saw it the run down towards turn 7. He lost a bit of time, but his cornering doesn't look too bad, so potentially not too much cornering damage dealt, but maybe a bit of steering damage that has been able to hurt him, so that is not good for his fight in this LMP2 class, trying to fight for the 3rd place, and I think that we'll see Jonathan Eaton pull away, but he is within every right to try and prove me wrong as he rounds the final corner once again, completing another lap of Sebring, just continuing to push on. He hasn't been pulled away by Jonathan Eaton too much, so the game's still on between these two, and there's also still another 2 hours 30 minutes to go. Not 2 hours 30 minutes, what am I can't speak. 2 hours 30 seconds to go. There we go. Zach O'Reilly, I am forgetting how to do time. And you did as well earlier. You said it was 49 minutes. It's 39. 39, yeah. So, yeah, we're all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. Get us a new clock, please. we need to learn. But Marcus just really trying to put the works to it, but he is slowly falling away from the car in front of him. Yellow flag as well here, so it's all going off here.
Oh, it's all popping off. Don't worry about that. We've got gaps decreasing, increasing. Jonathan Eaton versus Marcus NG, another cracking one here. But I'll tell you what, Magnussen now, he's under all sorts of here from Christiansen. And he is going to be very, very hairy. And so is Shawnee Brimblecombe too, because that is a lap marker in front of him. That's a GTE car. That is Lachlan Andrews getting out of the way nicely of the rest of it. But Shawnee Brimblecombe's been hampered here. He is absolutely losing it at this point in time as a hairbrush. He's got plenty of energy left to go, but he's still not using it at this point in time. Defends for his life here. Wowee. This is incredible driving from the both of them. Christiansen, Jesus. No, that's not that. It's Magnussen, the Formula 1 driver versus the hairbrush. Who's going to come out on top here? You can see the apex speed differences, and it looks like that Cadillac has 100% got the chockies over Shawnee Brimblecombe at the moment, but it's still going on. They're not letting go of each other. Can they go upside down, inside out of each other and keep it mean, clean and fast, or is it going to come to fruition where there's something going on? Magnussen's just being ultra aggressive, and there it is. That's the unforced error that we thought was going to happen. The hairbrush has lost out. Magnussen's gone into P6 overall. Shawnee Brimblecombe's going to have to think about it again, and now he's under all sorts of threats from the Jesus man himself, and he's got done over 2 spots within 2 corners. That's how quickly it can all happen. The hairbrush has gone from 6th place down to 8th within a half a second of basically wrap time. That's not what you want to do for Shawnee Brimblecombe. He'll get back and gather on board, I'll tell you that. But geez, that is all that takes. One mistake and you can be 0 to 0, ladies and gents, in the hypercar class. They are so quick around here. The apex speed is critical. One lock of the brake and you are out of it.
Yeah, and not to mention the lockup causing flat spots as well. It'll be tricky. Brimblecombe will get his head back down, I'm sure, and stay with Christiansen here, but it is going to be very tricky for him to pull it off. The wheel will be vibrating as well. He'll know it in the cockpit. The force feedback will be shaking him to bits with the flat spot, but he will be putting the pressure back on. But Magnussen is now nearly 2 seconds clear of Tiansen, so he took his chance, he took his opportunity with all the battling, and he drove away. So now it's just Brimblecombe. That's Wittner. Wittner's had a spin at the final corner and he falls down the order. Magnussen moves into P5. Tiansen moves into P6. Brimblecombe now in 7th. So Wittner is now going to be back into recovery mode, and spinning at the final corner is the opposite of what you want to be doing here, as we have under 2 hours to go just about here in Sebring, and Wittner makes a mistake at a critical point in this race, and not what he'd be liking in the cockpit. He will be trying to get his head back down now and continue on. He still has time to make this work once again. There's a whole other pit stop period left in this race, potentially 2 if they haven't fueled correctly, so he has plenty of time to close back up. He still has 6 seconds to Brimblecombe in front of him. That is closable over the course of 2 hours. You could close it in an hour and even 30 minutes, so definitely with 2 hours to work away at it. He was in front of them before. He'll be looking to get that back once again.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see it. Time is ticking down, ladies and gents. 1 hour, 56 minutes and 47 seconds left to go here at Sebring, and wowee, these guys are racing hammer and tong. This is where you start to get into that point of fatigue, Lindsay, where you've just got to settle the mind a little bit. It is so bumpy here. It is left, right. There is literally only 2 brakes on this circuit, and they're only for about 5 seconds or thereabouts on the steering wheel. So the muscles are going to get sore. The footwork is starting to get a little bit weary as well. Can you keep the brake pedal on as well at the same time? I'm not too sure what these guys are thinking. And Ben Vinton, that came a proper, and that's a perfect example of what can happen if you do come to terms. But now the hairbrush is only 0.5 of a second away here from Christiansen once again. So they're racing the wheels off these things, these two. They're driving hammer and tong, 7th place versus 6th. Overall, the hairbrush trying to comb out any loose ends at the moment and maybe get the hair straightener out here and see what he can do. Maybe curl some locks at the same time and get himself back into the mirror. That is Shawnee Brimblecombe. It doesn't break, ladies and gentlemen. He's a beautiful specimen, I've been told. He's the hairbrush himself. Absolutely luscious locks there too, with the last name to definitely suit him. I'll tell you what, he's following down Jesus at this point in time. And with only 0.7 of a second between them two, that is going to be one battle that we're going to keep an eye on for sure. We'll stay with them because anything can happen, as you know. In the grand scheme of things, anything can happen. And when you come to Shawnee Brimblecombe driving the wheels off the thing, you see there Tiansen full on the slide. He was absolutely at full opposite lock and just managed to keep it going there. And he's actually gained some time out of that, if you don't mind. Don't know how you do it sliding into a corner, but that is ultimate slip angle stuff there from Tiansen in front of him. The hairbrush trying to do everything he possibly can. And he's also on the slide too and nearly lost it as well himself. So a bit of monkey see, monkey do coming in, and that has just released Tiansen straight away. Now 1.5 seconds galloping off into the distance. That is what you want to see, ladies and gents. Bit of action, bit of sauce, bit of spiciness coming into the brains of all of these drivers at the moment. It's awesome to see on the field. We're going to go back here to Marcus NG versus Jonathan Eaton. That is also another battle a little bit further up the road, but they're not letting go of each other either. And they've also got hypercars coming through behind them. You can see the blue flag marker on their screen popping up. Not sure where it is, but look at the wheelwork and the seesaw-iness, and just absolutely missed his brake marker there. Locked up the brakes. That was probably the worst time to happen, because you can see in front Jonathan Eaton got held up there by Chris Weitzel. So that would have been the perfect time to pounce on something, but just can't get the job done. And that is what rotor racing is about. It is a long game of chess. A super, super long game of chess. And there is a hypercar car going through with the leader himself, Alex Kay, navigating his way through the field. Once more, Alex Kay just driving the wheels off this thing. 5.8 seconds now is the gap between himself and Eric Chandra. First and second on screen, as you can see. And Chris Weitzel still leading this field by an absolute country mile now. 22 seconds between himself and his most recent threat in Tyson Robbs. Not the best place to come out. Oh, there's another hypercar in the way too. They all managed to get away with it pretty much in sundry. All four classes on the one piece of tarmac there in the same corner. That's what you want to see, ladies and gents. That's what racing's about. And it is all happening here at the MCG. I'll tell the SCG if we're talking about Sebring, Lindsay Muddle.
Yeah, it is such a phenomenal circuit, but it creates such drama as well, trying to get through traffic. It's not a wide circuit until you get to some of the straights where it then opens up. But other than that, very skinny circuit in the grand scheme of things, especially with four classes running around this circuit. As somebody who has just a tiny bit of experience multi-class at this circuit, a 12-hour in the LMP2, I know a little bit of what's going through these drivers' minds, but definitely 3 hours, a completely different mindset, as Jamie Rees has some damage on the front end of that Ferrari 499P, and it's going to hurt him. He's driving just the wheels off it, trying to get position back. That's a spin. Who was that?
Marcus.
That was Marcus NG, who's gone off the circuit with a spin, letting the fatigue creep in, spinning off, overheating his tyres, back onto the racing surface. Now as Latunzio flies past, and he's going to rejoin right in front of a GTE car and get his nose and back onto the track and his head right back down. But that is not a mistake you want to be making when he was trying to close back down to Liam Curran. That is not what you want to see, at least if you're Marcus NG. But as the commentators, I dare say that the entertainment's much appreciated. But Marcus, that is not a mistake you want to be having as Magnussen comes in. Oh no, he's DNF'd. Magnussen DNF. I wonder how that's happened. And that is a big moment in this race. He finds himself with the big DNF symbol next to him. What has happened?
Well, he's not here anymore. He's completely out of it. We'll see if we can get a replay of what happened to him. It's not going to happen because I'll tell you what, the replay function has just absolutely sent me into oblivion there. But poor old Magnussen out of this one. And the enforcer himself finds himself DNFing 1 hour and 51 minutes and 50 odd seconds into this race, or left in this race. And he is giving up the ghost. So not what you want to see from him. In the grand scheme of things. Poor old hardware error, maybe a disconnection, Lindsay, not too sure for him, but nonetheless, that is a big red DNF to him, and he'll just creep further and further down the list as this race goes on, ladies and gents. It's what trials and tribulations of motorsport are about, and sim racing as well. It could be just a simple hardware error, or even just an internet connection kicks you straight out, and that's what happened to poor old Magnussen. Jan is gone. And that is all bar the shouting done for him. Everyone else on circuit is a little bit close to each other. You can see the pace difference between the two of them. Look at Jamie Rees just sail past the GT3 class there. Thank you very much, he says. And he's only 0.8 of a second away now from Jonathan Eaton in front. And that is a cracking battle that we need to see as well. Look at Jonathan Eaton. He is getting held up here by Lachlan Andrews, and he is also right on the No, he's not. He's not on the back of anyone. I got catfished into thinking something was there, but Jonathan Eaton now, and Magnussen is sailing down that list. Ryan Norwich way out in front, but that is your lap traffic battle that you just saw, ladies and gents. That's what can happen. You just get held up for a millisecond, and someone else can be right on the back of you in your class or not. And I'll tell you what, Jonathan Eaton's going to have to get out of the way here of Jamie Rees, because that is going to be, well, it is for position on track overall, but the pace difference between the two cars will just come to fruition here. And you can see old tech versus new tech. You can just see the difference in generations there as well. Very small as an LMP2 car, and then the hypercar class just looks like something out of a sci-fi film in comparison. And very much so a larger, wider and longer car too. He's going to get a bit of a suck here down the back straightaway. Is Jamie Rees, and he's got that job done over Jonathan Eaton. So Rees now overall in 12th place, trying to find his way back to the rear end of his own class. I'll tell you what, albeit at the moment 12th is not last in his class. Young Magnussen's out. Ethan Payno and Sam Austin are still circulating around. So at the moment he is 12th out of 14 effectively on the track, 15 sorry, on the track at this moment. Here's Jamie Rees. Next closest battle on the circuit. Well, it's a bit of a lull time at the moment here, Lindsay. I'll tell you what, it's just going to be a bit of a spectacle, I reckon, having a look at these guys, seeing where they can and can't go on the circuit. So I think that's probably a good time to just have a little bit of a break. Listen to this Ferrari sail around Sebring. Sit back, relax, ladies and gents. We'll be back here at SimSational TV for another commentary spell in just a hot second.
Alrighty, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on board with Jamie Rees, as we were a couple of moments ago, as he pushes along in the Ferrari hypercar. We're looking for another driver to look with. We could look to the hairbrush, and he is in that Toyota, trying to close in to the cars in front, and he is closing back in to Christiansen here as he overtakes the leading GT car in the train, and it's now the gap only 1.4 seconds as he chases down the car. The Lamborghini right in front of him, Toyota versus Lamborghini. A very new set of battling here in WEC, with all of these new manufacturers coming into it with the cut costs of getting into the class that is slowly becoming one of the golden ages of motorsport here with the hypercars, and it translates to the sim as well. So many new cars to drive, so many new sims to drive as well, and we just get to watch it all unfold right in front of us. And Brimblecombe really putting the pressure on Tiansen, but he has to keep pushing. He can't overheat his tyres. We've seen him take a couple of trips into the Bunda, and that wouldn't do bits for his tyres either. He'd probably be seeing a lot of red on his bottom right tyre graphic saying your tyres are too hot, you've got to cool them down, but he continues to push on as he chases Tiansen as he rounds the final corner. A little bit of traffic in front of him, but Tiansen in front of him has quite a lot of traffic as he's clearing it towards turn 1, and now Brimblecombe is going to be the car to deal with it, and on that lap he's at the purple third sector, so he is pushing as hard as he can as a yellow flag on the circuit. Now he's negotiating a GT3, now a GTE Aston, and then hard on the anchors for turn 3, 4 and 5, and still chasing down the Lamborghini. It'd be interesting to see over the rear wing of Tiansen just to see how close behind Brimblecombe is really getting here as he pulls away from the GT cars that he just got the lap over, but Tiansen is wringing the neck out of that Lambo for every bit it has, and still continuing on here with an hour and 45 minutes just under the go. A Lambo in his Toyota in his rear view. He just has to be looking in front, but it's 17 seconds to Guerrero in front of him, so he's just got to stay focused, not get distracted. It's super easy to zone out in these cars around a circle. Once you get into a bit of a flow state, all it takes is one mistake to be right out of it, but normally when you fall out of flow state, you find yourself in a bit of a wall, and he's not finding a wall at the moment. Hopefully that doesn't curse him, but the Lambo, very bright green, but looking very good out on the circuit at this point.
When it comes to racing, ladies and gents, sorry, a bit of hardware issue there. Lindsay Muddle is 100% correct. It is very bright Lamborghini, but it's also a credit to these drivers who can still set personal bests in this form of the race. 1 hour and 43 minutes and 14 seconds left. We can't get the times right. We can't get our words out tonight. We're having an absolute mare here at the moment in the commentary box. On our wordsmith, but the calling's been brilliant so far, and you can see the differences between all those drivers as they manage to make their way around the circuit very, very nicely indeed. It is the closest battle on track, and oh no, there goes Tiansen. He's made an error. Where's the hairbrush at? He's going to be right on his gearbox as we speak. Here we go. Now it's coming, ladies and gents. That is all the errors that you need to see. One little mistake can be the difference between being a hero and also zero. Shawnee Brimblecombe doing the best job he possibly can to keep onto the back there of Chris Tiansen. Now Tiansen's going to be thinking, oh geez, I'm a bit of trouble here. My tyres are a bit dirty. Can I keep that car behind me? And I'll tell you what, the hairbrush now has got the sniff of death coming his way, and he wants to make sure he can get past Tiansen there right now as Tiansen's coming up on a lap traffic marker as well. So that's going to be interesting to see as Benny Collins, the Stig, well not the Stig, gets right out of the way, and he's got some damage on his car too. You can see it there, crinkled on the front bumper there, but both of them have managed to get around him, the hairbrush and Tiansen, but Tiansen's just galloped away. It was 0.6 of a second. And now it's 1.2 within half a circuit. Geez, that's some pace difference there, Lindsay Muddle. I'll tell you what, these guys are now 100% thinking about what they can do between now and the next pit stop. What are we going to do? We're going to take some short fuel. We're going to put a long bit of fuelage into the car. I'm not too sure, but we'll find out very, very shortly as well. And we'll see what he can do, Lindsay.
Yeah, and I think the best course of action for these drivers, obviously I'm not in the cockpit, I don't know how the sim works at a total, but I do think that the best course of action is going to be for a splash and dash in about 10 minutes time, give it about 30-40 minutes of fuel, then make a pit stop for about 50 minutes to an hour worth of fuel, maybe a bit of fuel saving required to make the hour, and then just dash to the end, because the short stint at the end is not what you want, because you have to deal with a cold tyre period, then you have to close back up to whoever else has managed to undercut, overcut, or anything else strategy related. So I think that potentially that is the best course of action about it. But Brimblecombe really getting unlucky with the traffic at the moment. He got caught up in the middle sector, which is why Tiansen was able to get so far away. There's yellow flags, and we saw Tiansen the long way round of a GT car as they head down through 6, which is the big bend on the on the track map. And Brimblecombe continuing to push on, and now he's right back behind Tiensen. I was just saying how unlucky he was getting with the traffic. Now he gets just a touch of luck as he heads down the straight, and he's right back behind Tiensen once again as we go on board with the Toyota GR10 Hybrid, and he's continuing to push on here for the 5th position. This is a battle for a top 5, and that's a mistake. Tiensen's round. That is not a mistake you want to be making with an hour and 40, but Brimblecombe goes through Tiensen off into the grass, and that is a critical mistake in this race. The Lamborghini biting hard when he did make a mistake, and that is off the road and spinning around, but now back onto the circuit with overheated and flat-spotted tyres galore on the track for Tiensen. Not a good moment to have.
No, not at all, and that's exactly what we were talking about. You can get all under the collar of yourself and the red mist descends inside that helmet, and that's exactly what Tiensen does, and he's had enough. He's come into the pits and said, thank you, that'll be all for me, sir. And after all those unforced errors himself, he will now come in and try to undercut Shawnee Brimblecombe. I don't know how that's going to go. The overcut is definitely the way to go in the hypercar class, as we saw by Eric Chandra over Alex Kay, but it didn't last long, so this could be another neck-and-neck battle, I reckon, by the time they come out, if the Brimblecombe man gets himself where he needs to be. But nonetheless, that is pit stop on between all of these drivers, and it's now him in the pits and also Liam Curran into the pits too. He's just now circulating out of to the circuit. So that's another position that Liam Curran is going to have to think about making up, because now Sam Austin and Jamie Rees have gone past him. So another bit of lap traffic to happen. What is Ryan Norridge and Tommy Jones and Jonathan Eaton going to do in front of him? Have they seen that and thought, oh, that's a bit interesting? Maybe I'll do the same next lap. I don't know. I absolutely don't know. I think it's time for a red cordial, says Ron. Well, mate, get on them, and we can get on them together, mate, if you want to sit back here in the commentary box and be with us. Jeez. You're 100% our guest of honour. Sammy Austin now is trying to make his way around Ryan Norridge in front of him. So this is a hypercar versus LMP battle, and you can see the difference again. Look at that, look at the style of the car, just the difference in the shape, the way, the form that they drive. It's incredible stuff. And Sam Austin as well is not too far away from getting overtaken, and has done so now. So that is Sam Austin done over Ryan Norridge. Just gets it pulled up in the nick of time as well. That was incredible stuff. Just managed a little bit of brake locking, but still pull it up and not make any unforced errors there for the rest of them on the field at this moment. Good stuff by Sam Austin, 100%. The hypercar class has just petered out. Look at the gaps. There's 3 12-second gaps in a row from second down to fourth. Then you got the hairbrush and Vintner next on the circuit. You got Eaton and Jones now coming into the pits. So this is going to be interesting. Where is Liam Curran going to be in the grand scheme of things? He managed to make his way around the field and get that undercut working brilliantly. They're still in the box there. Is Tommy Jones and Johnny Eaton. So we'll find out in about 30 seconds time what is going to happen. It is getting bigger every time. Alex Kay is there. Might be 15 seconds, you reckon, Ron? Well, we will never know, but the whole focus at the moment here is on Liam Curran. Can he get the chockies over his compatriots of Jones and Eaton in front of him? We'll find out in about 10 seconds, Lindsay.
Yeah, so he's going to push on. We know that the overcut has been the preferred strategy. Curran has had the cold tyre lap, and now his compatriots are in the pit lane. Will he be able to jump them? I dare say so. Let's see where they come out of the pit lane. Their deltas are coming back up. I think that it's going to be very close on the pit exit. There is one LMP2 car, and another one should be coming out shortly just behind as well. So Eaton does get jumped, and Tom Jones is still in the pits as well. He's only just coming out now, so maybe a bit of extra fuel in that particular LMP2 car, and he comes out back in front of both of them. Curran making the undercut work, and not a bad place to end out for Curran as he pushes along past the GT traffic. Whitesall, the next car in front of him, the 488, the GTE leader and the overall leader of the GTs as a whole. He shouldn't be too hard to get past once they get on the power. The LMP2 car just a little bit quicker than the GT cars in a straight line. It makes most of its time up in the corners, but still a little bit quicker in the straights as it blasts past. Yellow flag once again. This track always catching out new contenders all the time. and we're nearly halfway through this race. I mean, I'll tell you what, I had a 3-hour shift at work today, very short shift, but I'll tell you what, when you're in the car, it's a not particularly short 3 hours, especially when it's solo. I mean, there's nothing much more to it when it comes to pushing on. I think 3 hours of work is easier than 3 hours of driving. Would you agree, Zachary?
Oh, 100%. Especially when you've got a 9 or a 12 or a bloody 20-odd Newton-metre wheel at your behest. It's definitely going to be something that the forearms are going to start crying to come the last hour or so of racing. That's for true. And it has been Liam Curran who has overtaken Jonathan Eaton and Tommy Jones by a country mile, if you don't mind. 6 seconds now to John Eaton and Liam Curran. So the undercut did not work. The overcut, sorry, did not work. Liam Curran came in, said, I'll take it. And he's got the chockies here. Second overall over Norwich in the LMP2 class, and that is what you want to see. We've got some interesting little battles going to be coming our way, and the gap again has decreased at the front. It was 12 and a bit seconds now. It's 9.6 seconds between Kay and Chandra. They're just playing with each other at this stage, I reckon, Lindsay. They're just having a good old tussle and thinking, well, you know what, I'll get a bit closer, I'll get around some lap traffic, I'll think about something else to do while you catch up to me, and then I'll just gallop away again. Or vice versa. Who bloody knows what's going on in the helmets of these guys at this point in time. But with Sebring delivering everything that we want here in a race, you know, undercuts, overcuts, overtakes, bit of action, bit of drama, bit of excitement, tension building, you know, it's all happening. And Benny Collins of Stig has got a probably better looking McLaren in the grand scheme of things when he from probably back once those pit stops start to circulate around. Very dirty. And a little bit crumpled there at the front too, as I think that is Phil Rando who just got past him as well. So Phil Rando, third overall in his class in the Porsche. Cracking car too. Awesome to hear this thing on board as well. Jeez, it sounds good. Listen to that thing scream, ladies and gents. I reckon that's what you want to hear. With a minute, oh my goodness, with an hour and 33 minutes left to go here. Porsche driving the wheels off these things at the moment, and Phil Rando at your helm, doing a very good job. And look at that clean air. That is just incredible to see. Love a bit of clean air. LMP cars are not too long because LMP cars coming through very, very shortly. But still a nice thing to have on your side there. And that would be, I think that is Payno coming past him. Albeit 3 laps down overall is Ethan Payno, but 17th place now. That's his best position for the race, Lindsay Muddle, who's been as far down as 26th, as better as 21st, and now he's in 17th, climbing his way back through the field. Ethan Payno, great to see him absolutely recovering from all of that last name sort of stuff. We've seen about 5 or 6 excursions off the road for him here in the race so far. How many more has he got left, viewers? Give us your predictions in the chat.
I reckon it'll continue to climb. I think this is one of the first times we haven't seen him off the racetrack when we've been looking at him in this broadcast. Unfortunately for him, obviously, it's not where you want to be, but it's where he's been ending up. These hypercars, not easy to drive by any feat, as that is the 26th place car, DNFing as well. That was a McLaren GT3, so another DNF to add to the list alongside Magnussen as well in the hypercar class, as I wonder what's caused that. We do have a couple of other DNFs as well. Gunther Rowe in that list as well, and Grant Begg also DNFing at some point, which I didn't realise at the time as well. So he's fallen off the back. So Sebring catching up more drivers than we think as the laps tick by. There is nearly just halfway in this race to go, but still a lot of DNFs I'm sure to come, unfortunately for the drivers, if we keep at this rate. But hopefully they can all keep it on the road. They're the ones who have survived to this point, as the cars are very tricky. A very bumpy circuit, as we've said a couple of times, and it's definitely proving a challenge, especially one of the cars that we are looking at right now, Payno. But back up the front, the gap extending once again between Kay and Chandra, but the Latunzio Chandra gap hasn't really extended too much. In fact, it's closing just a little bit. It's in the background of Chandra there. That is a hypercar. That's a Cadillac, who has quite a lot of damage on his car, just trying to put the pressure on, trying to get a lap back from Chandra here as they head towards the final corner. They also have GT3 traffic, but that is going to be the Cadillac thinking about going down the inside, and then Chandra nearly hits the back of the M4 as well. So it's all kicking off here with lapped cars behind, lapped cars in front, and the Cadillac is going to get through, get his lap back, but Chandra's not going to be happy with it. They nearly make contact as they head down towards turn 1. Chandra trying to fight this back. He doesn't want to let this Cadillac get back within a lap. He is as the inside of turn 1. The Cadillac sailing the long way round as they head down towards turn 3, 4 and 5, and now he's fighting it back again as they head through into the braking zone now. Chandra not giving this one up easily to let the lap back. That's a mistake from the Cadillac, as that is probably the most on-track action we've seen in a while. It's between a car that's a lap down in the car in P2, all the while that allows Alex Kay to get even more far away.
Well, it was Wilkinson trying to get his lap back. Couldn't get the job done. And Lindsay's right, that is probably the best action we've seen for a little bit here in the race. But don't worry, it's all going to heat up with just about halfway done. You can see that blue slider bar at the top of the left-hand screen, left-hand side of your screen. That is now at halfway distance. Thank you very much. An hour and 29 minutes left to go. And we've still got plenty of pit stops, racing action, and an excellent commentary coming your way. Don't you worry about that in the grand scheme of things for the rest of the field. We have got a good spread of cars here at the moment, all circulating, but just navigating as well. That's a very much sort of like going into a port that you don't know here. And as a boating man myself, just trying to communicate with the drivers that you are coming up on them, and you're wanting to get clear of that obstacle very, very quickly and not hitting it. And Peter Wall here has done anything but hit any of them tonight. He's driving the wheels off that Ferrari and doing very, very well indeed. 7th overall in class, 10 and a bit seconds away from Vintner. But this is all about driver study. This is just going to train your brain for the next time you come back around here to Sebring, but also know the limits of your car that is underneath you too. So very, very technically minded sort of action that we see, albeit a little bit alone on the circuit. It's a great place to be alone on the circuit when you know there's a good 26 or 7 odd cars left on the circuit, and you've got the cleanest air on the track. What a place to be. It's like paradise, as they say. And speaking of paradise, Ryan Norwich leading the way by a fair margin over the rest of his field. Liam Curran is 28 seconds away from any threat to Ryan Norwich's lead. But again, pit stops it could be something to behold. We'll see what's happening between them as well. Oh no, Norwich has had his 2 pit stops, and so is everyone else behind him. So he is in sync, basically, to be leading the LMP2 class here by a country mile with Norwich. Well done to him. Cracking driving as he navigates his way around a GT3 class. More yellow flags just been strewn up everywhere. Are we going to see a safety car here tonight? The safety cars tend to breed safety cars, but geez, when it comes to sim racing, you've got to have some massive off at some point here at Sebring. Someone's going to come a proper and just bin it and not be able to get back to the pits, or maybe just do the old teleport job, Lindsay. Who bloody knows?
I'll tell you what, I don't even know if is there a safety car in LMU.
Virtual.
I'm honestly not sure. There's a virtual safety car, so it could spice things up, as Alex Kay is in the pit lane just there behind us, and you can see it on the board as well. So Chandra is going to retake the lead, and we're now at that time once again where there is going to be a battle with the pit stops up the front in the hypercar class. Chandra will now be pushing away, trying to make the overcut work on Kay, but this time the gap's quite significantly bigger than it was last time round, so I'm not sure that he's going to be able to make the overcut work to get the lead again, but he'll definitely try and close in just a bit. But will the Tunzio also respond and try get it back on Chandra if he doesn't come into the pit lane? It's all the questions as Chandra taking an excursion into the bunda there off of turn 1, and then now through 3, 4 and 5. Hopefully he doesn't take another excursion as yellow flag. So Kay dropping all the way down past Katero. Brimblecombe, I think he should just come out in front of. No, Brimblecombe clears as well, so should Bittner. So dropping all the way down. That's the way the pit stops go here in Sebring with such a long pit lane. But Kay now just continuing to keep his head down, and I'll tell you what, Zach O'Reilly, I think that he's putting a lot of fuel in that BMW.
Very much so. He's definitely putting fuel in that thing. As we can say, Vintner coming into the pits now too to go for it. But Alex Kay is back out on the circuit, just exiting the pits lane now. We're going to see what his pace is like versus what we think his fuel calculations are too. So another thing to think about for us here in the commentary box when it comes to racing. It's one of those things, Lindsay. You don't know what's going to happen, and you see all these cars racing around at the rate of knots, and the sun is setting too here with an hour and 25 minutes left in racing or thereabouts. Alex Kay is driving around and making sure he can keep himself within reaching distance of Eric Chandler, who is taking the lead of this race so far. I'm not sure how it's going to work by the time we get around to the last pit stop battle. At this stage, I think it was about 2 hours and 20 minutes when the first pit stops were happening for the hypercars, and they're at an hour and 20. So within the last 20-odd minutes, I would say, Lindsay, we're probably going to see another battle between Chandra and Alex Kay. And that's going to be the last 25 minutes of the race. We could see a SimSational battle come your way here for the viewers at home. I'll tell you what, it's all happening. I have to go and take a bathroom break, Lindsay. It's all over to you, mate, until I come back.
Right, so Zach O'Reilly isn't able to hold his liquor, ladies and gentlemen, as we're seeing, but we are now looking to Nicholas Guerrero, and I'll tell you what, Zach O'Reilly's left me in a bit of a complicated spot where I can't see what's going on the track. He's got my view blocked, but pushing away around the circuit. There we go, now I can see. So looking at Alex Kay as he's in the BMW, heading through the third sector, so just get it cut across to the right and then onto the Ullman Straight towards now Sunset Bend will be all your focus as a driver once you head onto this straight. And the cars behind him as well, he's got some laps, GTPs behind him. Wilkinson in the pits now in P10, so a couple of pit stops going on, and we know that Wilkinson also has some damage to repair as well on his blue Cadillac. And Kay, where is he going to come out in all of this mess? You would imagine he'll come back out in the lead. He now has tyre temperature once again, and Chandra still has not pitted. Same with Latunzio and Guerrero, but it's a very different strategy. Alex Kay is going for the splash and dash at the end of the race with about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go. There or thereabouts, he should make it at that point. Chandra now comes into the pit lane. You can't make these hypercars go an hour and 23 minutes. It's not possible, but he is going to get an extra couple minutes over Alex Kay at the end of the race for an overcut, and that could make it very interesting come the end, because it's not just the cold tyres then at that point, it's also going to be the pit stop time. He is not going to have to put in as much fuel as Alex Kay will, and I'll tell you what, as somebody who got shafted by fuel strategy just a couple of weeks ago in an endurance race, it's more important than you'd think. It's every couple of litres is a good couple of seconds, so it is definitely crucial as the entire top three comes into the pit lane. Chandra, Latunzio, Guerrero, all into the pit lane. Brimblecombe is the only car in front of Alex Kay that isn't currently in the pits, and he now follows suit, so the entire top four in front of him is in the pit lane, and we know how long a pit stop can take here around Sebring as we look now to Chandra as he's in the pit lane. He's ready and waiting to get right back out onto the racetrack, and already trying so hard to get out as fast as possible. The pit stop will be working away. He'd be lucky to have Guido as his pit stop guy, but maybe not, as Alex Kay swoops back into the lead, and I think that is a nice little undercut from Alex Kay, as Chandra showing no signs of coming out of the pits just yet, as Wall is currently overall in second place with a pit stop still to make, and that is definitely not a position I think we think to see him after the start of the race.
No, not at all. And I can keep me liquor in, mate. I haven't had a drop yet. I've been on the genuine coddies tonight, sitting here at SimSational TV HQ in the combox. But Alex Kay has just galloped away, and that is a hell of an overcut. Look at that gap between himself and Chandra. He's already 15 and a bit seconds too. So that is the rate of attrition that we're used to, and what we're seeing here, ladies and gents. I'll tell you what, when it comes to sim racing, you just never know what you're going to see. And as Lindsay said as well, you can't get an hour and 20 minutes out of a tank of fuel here in a hypercar. So another pit stop coming everyone's way at some stage here within the next 50 odd minutes or so. I would say it's going to be incredible to watch. Who's going to try and go longer or shorter on the fuel? Maybe just gamble on the tyres, get some fresh set of tyres using that track map advantage to get some clean air, and maybe take away some sort of advantage or disadvantage that you've got. So it's interesting to see Peter Wall driving the wheels off that car. Tell you what, that Ferrari looks absolutely bloody fantastic. It looks something like out of a Halo movie, I would say, in a racing car sense. A beautiful, beautiful car. Very well done by the Tifosi over there in Italy, but he's in effective second place at the moment, albeit he'll probably go back a fair few places, not yet to pit. So it's probably the one thing that we need to look out on for him as he does circulate around once more here, and he's coming into the pits right now, entering that pit lane on the hard brakes, get that limiter sorted, and he is now seeing where he will come out and circulate around in the grand scheme of things. And speaking of circulating, Lindsay, Greg Brock, second overall in class here, absolutely taking the P155 with everyone, gobbling up every car as he goes across the back straight at Sebring. Wow, this guy's doing well to run the series. Not a bad steer at all.
Yeah, exactly right. He's got all the management stuff, all the stuff that none of the drivers really want to be doing, and then he comes out on the track and absolutely kills it as well in his Rexy 911, pushing around the circuit. So hats off to Greg Brock and anybody else involved in the background of ASA and ESO who help us sort out the racing and make it so we can do what we do here in the commentary box. It definitely wouldn't really be happening without them whatsoever. All of these drivers coming together, all about them and the community as well. It makes it such a spectacle to watch as we have an hour and 20 minutes to go of this big event. And currently Alex Kay in the hypercar class absolutely flying. Last lap he did a 1 minute 47.610. That is less than 200th of a second off of his fastest lap of the race, and he's negotiating traffic as well. So he's absolutely flying, and as far as I'm aware, he has about 22.5 laps of fuel left before he has to pit again.
Well, a bit of inside information from Lindsay Larko-Muddle there, knowing exactly how much fuel he's got left. And if you times 1 minute 47, which would equal, I guess that's 107 seconds, with times 22, you do the maths in the background, you'll know exactly when it's coming, because I got no idea. The human calculator is not on board tonight. I'll tell you what, and he's doing a very good job, is Alex Kay. So is Latunzio as well. Driving the wheels off this car. We haven't called him much in the Peugeot, the French outfit, and one of them too. You've got Peugeot and Alpine there. Latunzio and Guerrero doing a very good job at the moment. And Guerrero is 7 seconds away. You can see him just in the background there too. So not too far away. You can see him off in the distance. So a little bit of an incentive there for Guerrero to maybe get in some inroads onto the grand scheme of things. And I'll tell you what, it's happening here. Speaking of inroads, Jansen is coming onto the back here of the hairbrush. Battle resumed, ladies and gents, between these two. Is the hairbrush going to make an unforced error again and just gift Jesus another position on track or not? I'm not too sure, but it's looking that way once more. Can the Brimblecombe man get himself into a rhythm and not focus too much on those mirrors? Although with every creeping moment it comes through, 8 tenths now, 9 tenths of a second thereabouts. It's getting ever so closer here for Brimblecombe, and his eyes will be darting forward and maybe a little bit back in the mirror. Just a little bit as we go around Sebring one more time in about 10 seconds for the both of them. You can see the gap on track. It's not even 200 metres between them, and that is all that 1 second gives you literally between these cars. It's about 300 metres, and that's all over by the shouting. Brimblecombe not hitting the wall on that time around. Good to see. The gap is only 1.2 seconds between them. We love to see that. Love to see a bit of hardcore racing. But speaking of hardcore racing, Marcus NG has clawed his way back, Lindsay. 4th overall in class after his spin earlier, and he's now on the back here of Liam Curran. He's flashing Liam Curran as well, saying, mate, I'm coming for you. I don't care if I'm in the same class as you. I'm flashing you. Get the hell out of my way. 3 tenths of a second there between them, and ever so closing and creeping. There's going to be a bit of slipstreamage here on the front straightaway, only for about 400 or 500 metres or so, and then it's going to be another heavy braking zone into turn 1 here at Sebring. A very, very weird left-hander coming your way. Hug the inside, apex wide, and then use all the curb there too. And Marcus NG now versus Liam Curran, neck and neck in the pace department. 2 tenths, and they've got to get past there. They've got to get past the Stig. Oh, the Stig nearly got in the way. Nearly some... Marcus NG, wow, Liam Curran's now got his eyes well and truly awake and open if they were ever shut. Now it's racing again between the two of them. Only 6 tenths of a second or thereabouts. I reckon under braking, Marcus has got the chockies over Liam Curran. It is closing and closing ever so slightly at the least. Now through the twisty section here, the mid part of Sebring, very, very technical as well. You've got to go flat and nowhere to lift off and coast before you heavy brake into this right-hander coming up and right on the rear bumper now. I'll tell you what, this is great stuff from Curran and NG. They're absolutely flying. And the hypercars have got nothing on these guys in terms of battling. The LMP2 cars delivering what we used to see in the grand scheme of things. And wow, are they delivering at the moment, Lindsay?
Yeah, it's absolutely game on between these two as the laps tick down. An hour and 15 minutes and 56 seconds to go. I got it right that time. I was able to remember what seconds were, ladies and gentlemen. Never seen before, but they are battling away as the clock ticks down here in ESO. It's been a long period of time, 2 hours 45 minutes nearly. Not 2 hours 40. Damn, I've pulled a Zach O'Reilly. 1 hour 45 minutes into this race as they head towards the final corner, and they're still battling away. And he's going to go down the inside. He's going to try take a different line, put his nose in, and he sweeps through. And that is easy. Does it there for Marcus to get through. And now Curran will be fighting very hard to get back into the fighting range, but that was a very aggressive move at the final corner. It makes you wonder, did Curran just maybe give him a little bit of leeway? Just let him go there. He knows he's the faster car. There's been a lot of lights flashing. Maybe he's just going to sit behind, try and save some fuel with the slipstream, obviously. Now Marcus will be punching a hole in the air, and that was an absolutely stellar move there from Marcus to get it done. And now he's going to try and push away. He's going to try to do what Alex K has done in the hypercar class, except not for the lead. It is for the P3 in class as he goes down the inside of a GTE. And then Curran will try and follow, but that's Curran over the grass, I think. They're trying to get past the GTE car. And yes, it was, as they still behind that Porsche. And then here comes Alex K as well in the background as he is now going to try and hunt his way past the Porsche. He gets past the GTE, and then now next on the road in front of him is Liam Curran, and he should be able to clear him as easy as he does it currently. Alex is just playing the patient game, and he'll wait for the power, and now right around the outside before they even get to the turning point. Easy does it there for Alex K as he continues to storm away. 24.1 seconds over Chandra, and that is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, turn it up. That's just that's basically a pit stop nearly for free by the time you come around, and the undercut definitely working for him. And he gets around Marcus NG, and Marcus NG flashes him, says, I don't know if that's just a hello or something, but there is no way that Alex K is going to be looking at that too heavily and just sail off down into the distance. Around one more time for Sebring comes Alex K as well. Cracking driving from him. Next closest battle on the track here is between Brocky and Tyson Robbs. Only 1.4 seconds too, so another little battle coming our way. I'll give you the hot tip there. Looking spicy at the moment. I'll give you the hot tip. Very, very spicy indeed. It's going to be coming to fruition, I reckon, between these two. Because Brocky is, I would say, Lindsay, he is a smooth sailor. He just gets the chockies done when he needs to. But then as the time goes on, he's like a bit of red wine. You know, the longer you leave it, the better it gets. And Greg Brock at the moment showing us how it's done here in the Porsche. Second overall in class over Tyson Robbs. 1.5 seconds as he just goes off into the distance with commentator Kirsten. We better get the hell off him and see what another driver we haven't called much of tonight. I would tell you that that man at the moment is this man, Phil Rando. We've just seen him before get in a little bit away there for Alex K. But another Porsche on the circuit. That thing looks absolutely mint. It is so wide, low and flat. If you stand next to one of those things too, you feel like an absolute giant standing next to the roof of one of those. They are not very high indeed. And when you're in the cockpit, you feel like your ass is definitely on the grass in the Porsche, and that thing wants to kill you at every moment. Come onto a sweeping fast corner. But doing very well at the moment is Phil Rando, and he's anything but Rando. He's third overall in his class too, so cracking stuff from Phil. He's going to be on the podium here, we would hope, at the end of this for a fair while. Is Phil. Stick around, mate. Don't go anywhere. You're going to be right there as well. As we cross back to Marcus NG. I don't know what he's doing, but he's driving the wheels off this thing. He is getting closer to the back of Jamie Rees in front of him. Hypercar versus LMP2, Lindsay. Not too sure how that's working, but maybe a bit of lap traffic in the way for Jamie Rees too. And another flash as they go past there. Marcus NG trying to get back to where he needs to be in second place over Jonathan Eaton.
A bit of rhyming there from Zach O'Reilly as they head through 3, 4 and 5 now, just chasing down a hypercar. And I'll tell you what, I know that the hypercar in question, Jamie Rees, was just involved in a little bit of a scuffle. So was Wheatsall as well. They were heading 3 wide through the flat out left, and Alex Kay nearly came in and absolutely bulldozed the two of them as well. So a little bit of inside information from me. Again, I'm keeping my eyes absolutely everywhere here in this race, and Wheatsall absolutely wringing the neck out of his 488, as now he has the LMP2 just going to sweep the long way round, get through, and just continue pushing as he tries to chase Marcus and Jonathan Eaton as well in P2 in the LMP2 class, looking pretty comfy as well, just ahead of Jamie Reese. And then there is another hypercar of Wilkinson behind Norwich at this point. So that LMP2 car out in the lead looks absolutely unstoppable as we now go on board with the leading GTE car, the leading pack of the GT cars in general here, as he's heading through the third sector. So down to third gear, just get it tipped across. These GTE cars very on the limit, using all the curb you possibly can, get onto the concrete, tip it across, and then just power out. These cars have pretty decent traction, but not as good as the GT3 cars, even though they both have traction control, just a little bit less modern, the 488, compared to a lot of the other GT3 cars that we see on the grid. And then into the final corner now. No ABS on these GT cars isn't super tricky, but it definitely can create a little bit of a problem with all the bumps that we have here in Sebring. So rounding the final corner now, and it's going to be a full hot lap here with Chris Wheatsall as he pushes along, and he's going to begin the lap. So here we go, down towards turn 1, dab of the brakes now, and then just fourth gear. Will he go down to third? No, he won't. And then power back on, use the aero, the minimal aero you have. Oh no, he takes a trip onto the grass, takes it off the throttle, and just about manages to hold it together. Wheatsall, a bit of a code brown there, I dare say so, as he's trying to push this GTE car maybe just a little bit too hard. He's out in the lead. He doesn't need to push it much harder, but he definitely is. He's out into the grass once again. He's pushing probably just a bit too hard, but he also has the lead just to be able to soak up a couple of mistakes.
Yeah, look out for him. He just needs to calm his head down, I reckon. Like, you know, he's 72 seconds away from any threat behind him. That is a pit stop and a bit. So he just needs to think about it and just think about the long game. With an hour and 8 minutes left, still a fair bit of racing. He gets out of the way of Chandra coming through in second place in the hypercar class too. So the pace difference is just incredible from the both of those two cars. When you see them on the circuit, you love it, seeing the just the ability and the technology that all these cars have to just circulate using what we breathe in, ladies and gentlemen, the oxygen, the air, to keep it on track. And I dare say there's a car right behind him of Gibbons. It is too. So Gibbons now trying to keep his right wing and front wing basically in order too, to make sure he gets through cleanly without any contact there between himself and the leading man on circuit in the GTE class, Chris Wheatsall, driving the tits off that thing. First in the GT3 class is Tyson Robbs, a BMW once again, and he's gone off the circuit. Oh no, this could be a bit of a commentator curse. He's somehow gathered that up. That was a tank slapper and a half, and again too. Wowee, that was some incredible car control from Tyson Robbs. He's just managed to just pull away and said, thank you, I'll just keep going. Don't worry about me. I'll just keep it on the circuit, keep it on the black stuff, even if I go off onto the bunda. And he's done an incredible job. That's probably a credit to as why he is leading his class by an absolute margin and a half in the grand scheme of things. Just driving the tits off that. That is for sure. I'll tell you what, when it comes to racing, that's what you want to see. You want to see ultimate car control. You want to see getting out of the way of those hypercars coming through. There goes Alex Kay again, the leader. We're not even showing him on screen, but he just pops up everywhere at the time we flick to people. That's where he is. Oh, no! That is Vintner. Is that Vintner off in the... no, that was not. That was someone with the first letter J. I think that was... I don't know, Lindsay Muddle. I'm absolutely lost it tonight. Can't see who it was. But that was a hypercar losing a lot of places and spinning and around and binning it too. Not the best thing to see. As we jump on board Jamie Rees, and he's just driving the wheels off this thing. 13th overall. For climbing his way further up the grid that he needs to be at the moment, just trying to tag onto the back of the rest of his leading pack here. Vintner, however, is 13 seconds away from Christiansen, and he needs to get a gallop on if he wants to get himself into 6th place, that's for sure. And it's going to be the first question of the night here, Lindsay. The first, what do you reckon question. Would you rather be a man on the moon in 1963, or whenever it was, the moon landing, or would you rather be a man on the moon in 2025?
Oh wow, okay, that's a new one. Just before I answer that, it was Wilkinson, the hypercar that spun around. So a man on the moon in 1963, or a man on the moon in 2025. Wow, that is a tricky would you rather, I dare say. But I think, honestly, 1963. You know, you still got all the good years ahead of you at that point. You know.
Well, it depends how old you are when you're on the moon. You know, you could be 20 and you've still got, 70 to go. Or it depends. But I reckon I'd choose 63 as well, because with the recent events up at the International Space Station, people were stuck up there for what was supposed to be a week, turned into 6 months, because they couldn't get them back down with the technology. I reckon a 63 moon landing and getting back within the designated time is my answer. What do you guys reckon in the chat there? It's all up to you guys to tell us what it is. And yes, the net code is weird in LMU stick depth, but it is because we are broadcasting and racing effectively over in Europe. Even though we're all in Australia, we're on the server here in Europe, so we've got a little bit of the old swaying side to side action going on, but that's okay. It still shows us what is happening here, and the closest battle on the track still is this man versing his counterpart of Jamie Rees in front of him, who's actually got past him too, mind you. So Jamie Rees is now galloping off into the distance, but Jonathan Eaton is not making anyone question his ability. He's definitely fighting his way. He's only 9/10 of a second now between himself and Jamie Rees in two different cars, and Norwich is still leading the way. He's absolutely flying. He's got two hypercars between himself and a threat from Jonathan Eaton behind him. So another cracking drive coming Norwich's way. He's just got to keep it on the circuit, keep it out of trouble, and hopefully no disconnection or hardware issues hamper him for the latter half of this race.
Yeah, and that is the hope. He's just been keeping his head down, and he's driving such a calm race. We have not really seen much drama to do with Norwich, and that's how he's ended up just out as far as he has. Even the leading hypercar has been in a bit of drama. We've seen Alex Kay just about here, there, and everywhere with a couple of lap cuts. He's just managed to keep his nose clean. But now, coming to the crucial topic of pit stops. So in the hypercar class, which is the only class which I really have a little bit of an in on, I'm not sure about the LMP2s, but I know that including virtual energy, there is about 13.6 laps until Alex Kay will pit, and probably about 15 until Chandra, Latunzio, Gattero and Brimblecombe will all come in if they all pit on the same lap. So we are nearly we're bordering on the last stint of this race with an hour and 3 to go. And speaking of pit stops, that is Norwich now pulling into the pit lane in the LMP2. But now the real big question in this race is he able to go an hour in an LMP2 car? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think an hour is pretty much pushing it for Norwich. Maybe an alternate pit strategy from him early on has got him in this dilemma. His number of stops at the moment was on 2, as with everyone else behind him. So the graphic there is correct, but whether he can last is the big question. And Tiance's DNF'd. Oh no, Jesus has DNF'd out of this race. The big red DNF sign, there is nowhere to be seen. He is exit stage right on the circuit, and he is gone. So another casualty here of the racing department tonight. Jonathan Eaton inherits the lead of his class in the LMP2, whilst Norwich gets some pit stop action happening. But in saying that, Marcus NG's come in, Lindsay. So that raises another question. Is that going to be the second last pit stop for these guys, Splash and Dash? Is 3 hours just too much to get it done in a 3 stopper?
It's really the question, isn't it? I mean, I think it's going to be fairly close. As Norwich comes out of the pit lane now, an hour and 1 minute, we know that did they pit in Interlagos? Do you remember, Zachariah?
They weren't even racing in Interlagos. The
oh no, it's 2 class, right? So we don't really have much information to go off. I mean, I remember in the Le Mans 1.5 hour, I think it was. I think that they pit about 40 minutes in. So I don't think they can go the distance. I think that it is going to be a splash and dash strategy like we're seeing in the hypercar class, where they're going to go another couple of laps, and then come into the pit lane for a splash until the end. So it is going to be all to find out here in the LMP2s, in the hypercars, and even the GTs, but the GTs should be more self-explanatory if everything goes to plan. It looks like they're pitting pretty much once close to the hour. As speaking of pitting once close to the hour, all of these LMP2 cars have been as NG now exits the pit lane and into the final corner. So a bit of a weird pit lane around Sebring in LMU, as Eaton is also pushing on. Currently the P2 car in the the current leader of the LMP2 classes is yet to pit, so he will have to think about a pit stop soon enough, unless he's on a very big alternate strategy. So he's going to continue to push on a hypercar in front of him of Jamie Rees, and we've been saying this over and over again, but Rees is not pulling away that much from Jonathan Eaton. Could we see him overtake a hypercar at some point before the end of this race, do we reckon?
If that happens, I'll tell you what, I'll do a shoey after the race. If it's all fair and done, not T's and C's, has to be battling on track, not a unforced error, just pure pace between the two of them. And I'll tell you what, Jamie Rees will be questioning himself a little bit. Maybe I should go back a couple of classes or something. If a LMP2 car is coming to overtake me, I'm not too sure, but nonetheless, it's still racing on between them, and Eaton hasn't come into the pits. Everyone else behind him has in Norwich, NG, Jones, and Curran. So maybe a little bit better fuel strategy saving here for Mr. Eaton. It's probably going to get him to the chockies and maybe take the win if he's still got fuel left in that car, as we don't know the information in the current one on what they are doing. It's anyone's bet on where those 4 or 5 guys will come out come the last 5 minutes of the race. I reckon it's going to be one to watch out for. Never fails to excite, ladies and gents, multi-class racing. All viewers out there, thank you for being here with us so far. If you love what we do, give us a like on the video, and tell your friends, family, and everyone to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers here at SimSational TV, so keep that up. I reckon Lindsay Muddle's going to have to get some of his massive family on board here and just click that subscribe button, mate, and that'll give us something to think about here as we keep circulating around here at Sebring with under an hour to go.
Yeah, it's all going to be kicking off here with under an hour to go. So we are now well more than halfway into this race. This is now the final countdown as we look at Latunzio as he sweeps by the LMP2 traffic and just sweeps around the final corner. Are those two LMP2s fighting position? I dare say that they no, they're not. Ooh. And that's a smack of the wall there for the GT3 out of the final corner. So it's all kicking off here in Sebring as Latunzio just minding his own business at the moment. Currently 17 seconds behind Chandra, who is 22.6 seconds behind Alex K as they head into the final couple of stages. Alex has taken a trip off into the gravel at this stage. He has just rejoined onto the racing surface at this point, so a little bit of a mistake there from him, and the mistakes are creeping in here, maybe feeling the pressure. He did lose about 5 seconds to Chandra in that little interaction as well, so mistakes are creeping in, and that's not the mistake you want to be making with just under an hour to go. You can't be letting your guard down at this stage. That's how the yellow flags, like we have right now, begin to fly. That is how mistakes will creep in, and Alex will have to be mindful of that one as he pushes through the laps, as the laps tick up and up and up on the counter, and he rounds the final corner. And I reckon it'd be about time for an onboard lap here with one of the hypercars, just to see how they're tackling this circuit, Zach O'Reilly.
Yeah, I reckon it is, and it's a good time for us to have a break here. We're going to ride on board with the Alpine of Nicolas Cotero and see how he goes about it. Sit back, relax. Good to see Afet in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Wish you were out there racing tonight. I bet you are. It's all on, but one lap and a bit here of Sebring coming your way. Lindsay Muddle and I are going to just take a little beverage break. Don't go anywhere. Well, I'll tell you what, it's happening here, ladies and gents. That was a beautiful onboard lap there by our man, the myth, the legend, Gotero. But it is all happening here for Chris Weitzel, because he is now smelling blood like a great white shark, and he's only 1.1 seconds away from the man taking the lead here, or basically second car on track that represents a GT3 and the GTE. They're coming to very close to each other. Is Chris Weitzel and Tyson Robbs. They're both leading their class, but close on pace. Only about 0.3 of a second a lap between the two of them. So, overall in their best lap department. So it could be something to think about here for Chris Weitzel and Tyson Robbs. Greg Brock, however, is just absolutely right behind. Right behind no one. Got a bit of bodily functions going on here coming out the proverbial. But geez Louise, Chris Weitzel versus Tyson Robbs having a absolute rip snorter of a battle, and it's going to come to fruition here too. That right behind them is Norwich in the LMP2 class, our effective leader, navigating his way around Chris Weitzel, leading his class, so it just gets that done very nicely. Perfect timing there for Norwich to keep circulating around. You can see the pit stops there. Every single car in Norwich, NG, Eaton, Jones have basically got the job done, and also Curran, who is up on the screen. There he is right now. They've all done their 3 pit stops. That's where we want to look by the end of it, ladies and gents. Anyone in one of these cars, an LMP2, they've got an hour and a bit was their last pit stop, and we don't reckon they're going to get to the end on an hour's worth of fuel. So can we see something happen between these 5 drivers come to it? And it's it's going to be all down to that, because I reckon at the moment Norwich is 72 seconds away from any threat behind him. But if he has to pit, Lindsay, before the rest of them and the others get through, that could be the change in the lead and maybe the race all over done by the Shanty for Norwich.
Yeah, it could be a very interesting end to the race. We've seen exactly what an extra pit stop can do. We saw it in Interlagos for the ASA LMU series on Monday night. One driver was able to make the finish without a pit stop. That one driver was Lawrence, who's in the GT3 class in this particular race. And he was able to trump the rest. And if Norwich has to pit, it could change this race completely and tip it on its head compared to what we think that the result is going to be. But there's still 51 minutes to go. Everybody in this race, except for the people yet to pit, so everybody who's done a 3rd pit stop will be very hard pressed to make the finish unless they're in the pits right now, much like Ben Collins in the McLaren GT3 in P26, which is plumb last outside of the non-finishers at the moment. And currently our non-finishers list is Christian Jan Magnussen and Gunther Rose, so that's not changed so far. But now we look to the GT class, and this is the Aston Martin of Johnston, and then the next car behind him on track is Phil Rando, but for position is Ben Collins. So a little bit of inter-class lapping going on at the moment. In the GT class, it's normally the hardest to pull off, as the cars are so evenly matched. Even to a slower car, normally it's a bit tricky to get by. So let's see what Phil Rando can do in the grand scheme of things, trying to get past Johnston as they head through the laps, as we're approaching that final pit window for a lot of the cars on the grid. In about 5 to 10 laps, I think we'll see a lot of those hypercars come barreling into the pit lane. There is just under 50 minutes to go at this stage. So the question is, who has this race in the palm of their hands?
Well, we don't know. We don't know at all. It looks like Alex Kay's pretty comfortable out there in front, but not too comfortable, as we heard before from Lindsay. He went off and nearly binned it himself. He's nearly terrorised himself, Osama bin Laden style, and put it in the wall. We could see what can happen. If it gets a little bit tired, the fatigue is going to start setting in, ladies and gents. It's going to start setting in here for the rest of the 49 minutes, 21 seconds to go. It's going to be starting to just get a little bit hairy, maybe a bit of cramping going on as well. Look at Marcus NG. He's just not letting Jamie Rees go past him at all. The corner speed there was ridiculous, and that is 2 separate classes, ladies and gents. Superior Machinery is behind Marcus NG at the moment, and he's just defending for his life. He's having a bit of fun here Jamie Reese is going to have to try and go up the inside. Can't get the job done, just cuts the nose off. Did Marcus NG of Jamie. Wow, that's incredible stuff. And we've got even cars behind them too. Eaton's involved in this as well. And then he's going to have to think about that because right behind him there is Latanzio as a lap marker, sitting in third overall in hypercar class, trying to navigate his way around this battle. And it's coming to a three-way sort of tussle between two different classes. What is Latanzio going to do? He's going to sail around the outside there of Eaton and say thank you. He's going to try and get on the back here of Jamie Reese and navigate his way around that. Is Jamie going to let him past easily, knowing the pace difference between the two? I would say probably. But at the moment, it's just interesting to see what is going to happen. Can we see Jonathan Eaton take the chockies and maybe get away? But Lachlan Andrews is now, once again, in the worst possible position for everyone behind him at the worst possible time. Marcus NG and Jamie Reese not letting go of each other by one bit. Latanzio's trying to make his way through as well. Jeez, it's all happening here. And oh, look at that. Oh, Marcus NG just slapped his way through. What happened there? That's got to be netcode on everyone else's end. Absolutely yeeted himself into Marcus NG and nearly took him out. Jamie Reese just absolutely shut himself there too, I reckon, and got a bit browner underneath that red suit of his. But Latanzio just had enough. He said, nah, bugger that. I'm getting out of this pretty quick smart. He's going to have to get around Jamie Reese pretty well right about now. Can he get the job done? He's got to be flashing his headlights. Blue flags in Jamie Reese's cockpit. There is a flash. Thank you. He's going to get out of the way of that. And right behind them, Eaton versus Marcus NG. The battle is on here, Lindsay Muddle. What are we going to see between these two? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, so it all kicks off now here in the LMP2 class. NG versus Eaton as they head down towards turn one. It's a good run off the final corner for Eaton, but he won't be close enough to go for a move. You've got to be fully alongside if you want to pull a move off like this, as we have the telemetry up on the onboard of this LMP2. But just to cover all our bases here, Zach O'Reilly, you said that if Marcus NG was to battle with Jamie Reese, you'd do a shoot. And what did we just see a few minutes ago, Zach O'Reilly?
Well, we saw that, but Jamie Reese is out in front. So it's Marcus NG to stick in front of him, mate. So we're still not there. We're not there.
I think that he might have had an overtake earlier off the camera. I don't know. I think Zach O'Reilly's trying to dodge a shoot.
Not at all.
Anyway, all jokes aside, 46.5 minutes to go. Oh, that's a lock up there from Marcus, and that is going to put Eaton right inside striking distance as he goes up the gears. Third gear, up the revs, fourth gear, hitting 200 k's an hour and climbing as they head towards the turn 10 braking zone. Hammer the brakes now down towards first gear. Power right back out. He's chasing so hard, struggling on the traction just a little bit there was Eaton, but so was NG as well. Both of them in a pretty similar situation strategy-wise, and now it comes to fruition on the track. There's contact, a little bit of netcode there between the two of them. NG holds the place, but a little bit of argy-bargy beginning to kick in now on board with Eaton as they head through the third sector. They're going to continue to battle away. Sparks are beginning to fly. The gloves are beginning to come off. It's absolute hammer and Tom stuff here between the two of them as they head onto the Almond Straight and towards the final corner, all the way to the right-hand side. Defending goes NG. He doesn't want Eaton to have the slipstream one bit as they head into Sunset Curve. Can he try and go for a move? We saw NG pull off an aggressive move at the final corner earlier on in the race. No, he's not, but he has a massive snap. That invites Eaton right into it. He's still sliding his MG as they head down towards turn one. It's going to be a drag race as they head towards the braking zone. Heavy on the defence goes NG as now they head towards turn one. If he gets a good run through turn one, Eaton could have a go down towards turn four, but he's not going to get it. NG carrying a lot more speed as they head through the first sector, but off into the grass he goes. He didn't want to be under pressure whatsoever as there's 45 minutes to go. This battle heating up between the two of them, and it's really kicking off here in the LMP2 class.
Well done. Great call there, Lindsay Muddle. That was sensational stuff, if I can say it myself. Wow, they were right neck and neck with each other and then not letting go. I guarantee you that. Someone's going to come to fruition here and maybe get the chockies over one another. Or an unforced error as well. Look at that, right on the gearbox now. Was Eaton over NG. That is what the braking markers can do. If you can pull it up at the last moment without collision, you gain yourself another 2 or 3 tenths, and that's all it takes to be within the suck as you come down onto the back straightaway here at Sebring. It's interesting to see what these guys will do. Is NG going to defend for his life, or is he just going to let Eaton go past him? I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Yellow flag's just full on popping up on the screen everywhere. Everyone's going off left, right and centre. And there is God. Oh my goodness, that is poor old, who is that? That's Chris Weitzel in front of them. in the way at the worst moment possible for Eaton. He's going to try and go around the outside Trailer Park Girl Stale, and he's got that job done nicely. Hampered him a little bit there in the grand scheme of things, from 4/10 down to 9/10 of a second. So doubled the gap did Marcus NG over Eaton in that little phase of the race, and you can see Weitzel pushing the limit of his Ferrari right behind them too. Jeez Louise, that was hairy stuff. But battle is resuming between Eaton and NG. It's the closest one on track by an absolute country mile over the rest of them, and they're driving the wheels off the thing at the moment as there is Mr. Robs getting out of the way in Tyson, leading his class very, very effectively, but doing a great job being a blue flag marker, and that battle has petered out just a little bit. 1.4 seconds or thereabouts between NG and Eaton. Once more, is that gap going to climb down? We're going to have to keep an eye out on those two as well, because Lachlan Andrews is now in the pits, and Harry Lawrence pitted right before him. They were behind each other, line astern. So now it's amazing to see what we can do with Lachlan Andrews' car versus Harry Lawrence, Mr. Fuel Saver himself. We should call him 7-Eleven, mate, because every time he goes in for fuel, he saves a couple of dollars. I reckon. This guy knows what it takes. Brake, coast, take yourself off the throttle, get yourself back in, and then go for it one more time. Here is his car is off the jack stands and ready to go. The hairbrush, however, 5th place overall here. Very well done by the hairbrush. He has managed to fight off Vintner behind him as well, and any threat that he had prior to. So I reckon the hairbrush is on for the top 5 here, coming for the rest of the race. What will we see from him circulating beautifully there as we speak? Weitzel versus Robs is getting a little bit closer again. 1.6 seconds now, the gap between Robs and Weitzel. What can we see? He's got to get out of the way here, because there goes Gibbons right beside him. Straight away, the pace difference is just like night and day, ladies and gents. It's absolutely night and day. Love it. Love to see it. But this man here out in front, Lindsay, just driving the wheels off it. Getting around Mr. Wall himself very nicely. Wall just gets out of the way. Does nothing of the sort. Doesn't imitate his last name. Alex Kay leading this race by 18.6 seconds over Eric.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I do reckon he's going to be into the pit lane this lap, and then Chandra, Latanzio and Brimblecombe and Guerrero will follow in the next couple of laps as he heads now through the sector where the pit lane entry is prevalent. So just clawing his way through the middle sector, and he is going to be in, but how much fuel is he going to put in that car? I dare say not too much. And another question is, will he take tyres? He doesn't have too much tyre wear. The most tyre wear he has is about 27% on his rear left, but the other tyres are still over 70% as he does come into the pit lane. So this is a crucial stage now. This is where the final phase, the final stint of this race will now begin. Alex Kay in the BMW M Hybrid hypercar is going to come into the pit lane and kick off proceedings, kick off these final pit stops as he pulls now into his pit box.
Here comes Eric Chandra going around the front straightaway now. So just stop there at Alex Kay. So let's count some seconds as we go along, hypothetically, in the grand scheme of things. Effective leader of the race here is Eric. The undercut versus overcut battle is back on. I'll tell you what, Ron Marshall sitting there in the chat, mate, give us your prediction, because you're the man of the engineering department. You know what goes on more than we do. You are a mega mind in the grand scheme of things. Alex Kay sitting there still. Latanzio's got past him too, so that's also another 20-odd seconds, I reckon, behind Alex Kay. Latanzio could be by the time the pit stops come around. And we'll find out. We'll find out, because Alex Kay is now coming out of the pits. I don't know why it does that on board. I'm not too sure why it does that, but here he is. Alex Kay out of the pits. This is going to start queuing up. Chandra will see that. Latanzio will see that. The hairbrush still hasn't even got past him, and he's just rounding this part of the circuit at the moment. So he's not in that battle at this time. He's on the front straightaway, actually. So you can see Alex Kay off in the distance there. He's just rounded the final turn here at Sebring, and he's going to go onto the front straightaway and start circulating a lap. Eric Chandra, game on, son. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, so Alex did indeed not take tyres. His car never went up onto the jacks. The virtual energy to about 37 seconds plus time in the pit lane, taxiing probably about 50 to 55 seconds. The pit stop took, so Alex put about 97% of the fuel tank back in, and he's going to be pushing 100% to the end. So no fuel saving like we've seen earlier on in this race. It is going to be absolutely committed driving from Alex Kay as he is pushing along in this race. And I think that Alex Kay might have a penalty in this race, Zach O'Reilly.
Oh, hang on. What's the inside info there, Lindsay?
I do believe that if I'm seeing this, the thing I'm seeing on the top of my screen correctly, Alex Kay, I think he has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, my days, ladies and gents. What did we tell you? We told you at the start that you can never, ever guess. And he's nearly lost it. He nearly lost it. And he's lost it again, too. He's rattled. He's absolutely rattlesnaking himself at the moment. If that is true with the drive-through penalty, we are yet to find out. That is huge ramifications here. That's going to give Eric something to absolutely sing for about. I'm not sure if he would know in his cockpit in Eric. And the Fiat in the chat is absolutely on song here. He is giving every bit of cheering he can possibly get to Eric Chandler as well. It's good to see a bit of variation here, and look at the virtual energy levels between all of them. Chandler's only got 7% left. Alex Case, he's gone. He was at 80, now he's at 78. So these guys are yet to pit. That's a pretty good example of what's happening as Sam Austin's now in the pits as well. So he's re-pitting for maybe some fuel and some energy. Who knows? But if Alex Kay's got a drive-through penalty, Lindsay, that's going to throw every single spanner into the works. Sid Chrome, Mecha Chrome, King Chrome, you name it. All the tools are going to be out of the cot at the Alex Kay department.
I can't. Oh, it's a stop and go. It's a stop and go penalty. It is going to be very big. It doesn't change tyres, add fuel or anything like that. It is just going to be a one and done, simple stop-go penalty. He has to serve it this lap, otherwise he will be disqualified. And a trip through the pit lane plus a stop-go. This is going to put Chandra in a very good place to win this race. And Brimblecombe and Latunzio will be seeing this as well, seeing if they can gain from this. So Chandra now in the pit lane. Alex Kay is still a few sectors away from coming back into the pit. But this race has been tipped right on its head, Zach O'Reilly.
Here we go. This is what we like to see. It's got us all excited here. 36 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Alex Kay has to come in. He's got no choice, else he will be given a double penalty. Stop go and then a drive through. You don't want that as a race leader by a country mile here. It's all happening here at the SCG, that's for sure. Alex Kay circulating his way through the infield at Sebring. What can he do? Latanzio in the effective lead of the race. He is not pitted at all. Eric Chandra still in the pits at this moment. Has he managed to keep himself where it needs to be? We've got some flashing going on there. The graphics card just doing some beautiful things there. Or LMU nonetheless. But I reckon it's going to be on him. Alex Kay is in the pits, ladies and gents, in serving his drive-through stop-go penalty once more, Lindsay. How much is this going to take off his race pace effectively?
I'm not sure. I am looking right now. I don't know how long the stop-go penalty is, but he's right behind Chandra, who's been in the pit lane for a good couple of seconds. Chandra will probably take about 30-something seconds in the pit lane. It's a 10-second stop-go penalty. Chandra has now exited the pit lane, and now his chase back around the circuit continues. Alex is now exiting the pit lane, so Chandra in the lead.
Wow. In the lead, ladies and gents. I'll tell you what, you've come back at the right time of Fiat, that's for sure. Did he pit a bit earlier? No. He pitted a little bit later than Alex Kay. This is what he's serving up. Alex Kay has got a stop-go penalty, and he's just served that now. And he is sitting in fifth place on the track at the moment, and he's got 20 seconds to make up between himself and Eric by the time this racing comes. So he's literally only got about, 20 seconds by 34. My brain is just not on tonight, ladies and gents. But he's got to make up a hell of a lot of time between now and the end of the race, because with that sort of energy, those energy levels, 54 versus 75, it still could come into Alex Kay's play. It's incredible. So we'll see what happens. Yes, he did come into the pit when his energy was 7% exactly, but Alex Kay was at 6% and filled it back up to 80% when he came in for his pit stop before the penalty was given. So a bit of strategical masterclass possibly coming Alex Kay's way, even though he got a stop-go penalty. Maybe we'll see what happens by the time, but 34 minutes 15 left to go. it's anyone's guess here, and the pits are happening. Sam Austin's just coming out of the pits now, as Ashton Wilkinson too is also coming out of the pits, and Johnny Eaton. Oh, geez, these guys. This is another one to look at, ladies and gents. We've got Alex K versus Chandra. Then we've got all the guys in the LMP2 class who came in at the hour and 2 minute mark or thereabouts to pit. Well, I reckon they've got enough fuel to go the whole distance. It's all going to spice up. 33 minutes of racing. Sit back, relax in your chairs, and sit back and watch and enjoy what is going to come to fruition here between two classes on the track.
Yeah, it is going to come down to the absolute wire here in Sebring, and that is Latunzio and Guerrero into the pit lane, as well as the hairbrush as well into the pit lane with 33.5 minutes to go. Latunzio exiting the pit box now, but Alex K is 19.3 seconds behind Eric Chandra, so it is going to be a very, very close finish. But also the virtual energy at this stage, Alex K potentially gave his car just a little bit too much fuel. He has 71%. Chandra thinks only with 2 laps after he can go to the end with 51% of his virtual energy remaining. So that is also a big factor here. We know Alex K has the pure pace, but with a little bit of extra fuel in his car, will he still be able to claw that back in? I don't think so. He's negotiating a lot of traffic at the moment, and he's falling back to Chandra as we head further and further in. It's staying pretty stagnant, so I think this is going to be a pretty interesting finish to the race as they continue, and Latunzio just leading away from Brimblecombe still quite comfortably, not in the camera shot, as Guerrero also into the pit lane as Wittner has actually gotten past Guerrero. It'll be interesting to see if Wittner needs to still come into the pit lane in the BMW hypercar as he rounds the final corner. We know that Alex K had the pit one more time, but we don't know when Wittner took an extra pit stop earlier on in this race. But I would dare say that he might still have a pit stop to go. So 32 minutes remaining here in Sebring, and it's a 3-hour race, so we are 2.5 hours nearly into the racing action. It's not disappointed so far, and there's still one last leg of this race to go.
It's getting darker too out there, ladies and gents. The headlights are now and truly lighting up the racetrack in front of every single competitor too, so this adds another dimension to the race as well. Started at 5:30, ending at 8:30. It's anyone's bet what we're gonna see here. I guarantee you, it's just going to be insanity by the time we get around. It is going to be absolute cinema, says a feed in the chat. Thank you, mate. It's going to be that exactly here. 23 seconds now is the difference between Chandra and Alex K. Oh man, it can all be looking cruisy as a Vietnamese trip down the Viet Cong River, and then all of a sudden someone comes out of the bushes and starts hailing you with AK-47 bullets, and that's exactly what Alex K's decided to come up with here with his stop-go penalty. Really, really hurt in 22 seconds now, the gap between himself and P1. What can we see between them? Norwich is still driving the tits off this car. He is a country mile. He's got 30 seconds between Jamie Rees, who's then got 88 seconds between himself and Sam Austin, and then it's another 6 seconds behind him. So we've got 30 plus 8 plus 6. That is a 44-second gap for Ryan Norwich over his next compatriot on the racetrack, and it's fantastic to see. We've had a few DNFs, as Lindsay has called out: Hansen, Wells, Begg, and then we've got, I think it was Magnussen and Rowe, who have absolutely called it and done the ghost, but I'm not sure what happened to Tiansen, because he was driving around perfectly and then just disconnected. Hopefully it wasn't anything other than just a hardware issue for him, but nonetheless the racing is happening. Photo finish coming our way, I would say here. Alex K's just got to get his head back in and on that racing brain of his, and I'm sure Lindsay Muddle will have some more information coming our way about where he is at and where his head's at too in the grand scheme of things come race time. When it comes to Gapso, there's absolutely nowhere to look. The closest battle on track is Alex Wilkinson, and he's going to come back onto the rear end here of Liam Curran in a different car, albeit, and the headlights just blown out there on the Cadillac, or just not showing, Lindsay. I'm not too sure.
It looks like they're just not showing, but yeah, Alex K is losing time to Chandra. He's kind of gaining back in, then losing it again in the mid part of the lap. So the heavier fuel definitely hurting Alex K's case, and he's not improving either. He keeps slipping off the circuit. He's quite frustrated at the moment just showing a bit of mental fatigue after what was a silly mistake. He should still come home in the P2 position, but I don't think there's a lot of chances. Wilkinson takes a trip off into the wall. The ice skating ring of the grass, he hits the barrier, and that Cadillac sustains even more damage. That is not what you want to be doing at this stage, and just as I was about to say, it's on cue. The only way that Alex Kay can really find himself back in this fight for the win is if Chandra finds himself crashing into the wall, much like we saw Wilkinson just do a moment ago, but he looks pretty comfortable. Latanzio's not going to be close enough to close up to Kay though, so I think Kay will still get a P2, but considering he was dominating for oh so long, I think it was speeding into the pit lane, and that is what has caused his 10-second stop go, and that is just so unfortunate. But it is just motorsport in general, not just sim racing. It's things that can happen, mistakes that can happen, and over a course of a 3-hour race, the mental fatigue sets in, and that is why we saw such a mistake from what has been our dominant race leader, who's no longer our race leader, and the gap just sitting around that 23-second mark to Chandra from Kay.
Has Alex given up the ghost? Not too sure, but the arms are definitely going to be sore on all of these drivers racing around Sebring, and with 27 minutes left here and thereabouts in the race, it could be anyone's go. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen between any of them. I'll tell you what, the racing has never failed to impress us here. All the spanners in the works have just come to fruition over this race. We've still got 27 minutes to go, which would equal, Lindsay, if I can do the maths correctly, that would equal 2 hours and 33 minutes gone here in the race. I hope I'm correct in saying that. I think I am.
Yeah, you got it right.
I got it right this time.
He won't have to do it time.
The brain has finally switched on at 9:52 p.m. local. That's all happening here at SimSational TV. We're going to have to check out Ashton Wilkinson, because he's now coming onto the back of Liam Curran once again. And this is the battle between the two classes, and it's incredible to see. He's given Liam Curran a bit of a flash there. Can the man himself get out of the way when he needs to? No, he's just parking it on the apex and just saying, mate, you've got to get past me. You're going to have to do it the hard way. I don't give a rat's toss bag here. And he's gone straight around the outside. Oh, that was hairy stuff there, but he's got the job done nicely as Wilkinson. So keeping that Cadillac on the grass and on the circuit at the same time, managed to get an overtake over the LMP2 class of Liam Curran, sitting 4th in class at the moment is Liam. And Tommy Jones and him are not too far away from each other, mind you. Tom Jones only 4 seconds up the road from Liam Curran, so that's another battle to look at here. Are we going to see some fuel saving, Lindsay? Are we going to see some lift and coast? And geez, that's actually a really nice looking car of Tommy Jones. Gee, I like that livery. That's one of my favourites so far. Richard Milley on the side, definitely not short of any dollars is Tommy Jones, if he's got a watch on his arm of that predicament. But the big story still is at the front. Eric Chandra, 24 seconds away any threat from Alex Kay, and it's seesawing, but it's never getting under 20 seconds. And as Lindsay said earlier, you only have to be one mistake from Eric Chandra, and Alex Kay is going to get invited back into this battle at any rate of knots. It's just incredible to see. What are we going to find out? Give us your predictions of Fiat, Ron Marshall, anyone else in the chat, Braden Moore. Get us in and tell us what we're going to see on the hypercar front. I think it's all over and bar the shouting here for Chris Weitzel versus, I think, is it Harry Lawrence there, Lindsay? I'm not too sure who is in the same class. My education skills lacking tonight in what car is what, but nonetheless, it's still on, and Greg Rock still is P2 overall in his class. It's just bloody fantastic. Yeah, so it's really heating up here in the GT class. A little bit of a lap action going on. So the GT3 goes down the inside of the GTE, and Greg Brock gets that one done. But yeah, out the front, Alex Kay dropping off. But we were doubters, Zach O'Reilly. We thought the LMP2s couldn't make the end from when they pitted, but when you had the virtual energy graphic up on the screen, it was 30 minutes to go, and he still had over half the tank, and he pitted at 1 hour and 2. So I do happen to think that our LMP2 cars on the track can make the end here in Sebring, which is not something I expected to see. It's not something that I thought was possible, but maybe they don't use as much fuel as we thought. So they're going to continue pushing on here with 24.5 minutes to go. And the GTE GT3 battle still kicking off at this point. Harry Lawrence, though, is an extra lap down to Greg Brock, so he's just trying to get it back at this point. And he's just pushing on as Alex dropping even further back from Chandra.
at this point. I think he's just about given up at this point as we look to Vietnam, just sailing past the GTE that we were just looking at of Greggy Brock. And what an event this has been, and it's still not done as, oh no, Alex K has just dropped into a barrier.
No way, Jose. He's got back out at the moment. It's all happening for him, and he's rattled. He's off the circuit again too. So just trying to keep that car on the track and off it at the same time. Alex K's having an absolute mare here in the dying stages of the race, leading it by a country mile, lead from the lap 1 basically, and has effectively led this race until his pit stop, where he got the old stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Geez, you've got to be on it everywhere, and that is definitely, I would say, 100% job done for Eric Chandler. 32 seconds on a racetrack is just too much to gather up, bar one sort of error. And the lead pack from first all the way down to 6th have at least lapped the field. Everyone else sitting a couple of laps down overall, and the gaps are just forever decreasing. Wow, Chris Whitesell nearly got clipped there by Eric Chandler. He's not giving anyone some space on the track. He is commanding this circuit, saying it is mine, and I'm going to take every single bit that I can possibly get from anyone, and managed to get away by 30 seconds over Alex K. This will be a day that he remembers, I'm sure, in the long grand scheme of things. And Norwich, 9th overall in class, in the inferior of the 2 quickest cars on the circuit. Oh no, not as we say that! He just got into the side and he's in the wall. Norwich is out of this race so far. He's trying to gather it back up, and Jonathan Eaton's thinking, oh my goodness, what's happened here? He's still getting himself back on the circuit. Norwich, wow. Luckily, he has some sort of leeway and some sort of insurance to keep himself on, but into the fence is going to absolutely give him some aero damage there. The gap now is, oh geez, I'm making it sound like it's amazing, but it's only 23 seconds between himself and Eaton. That was about 42 seconds, and that is all it takes. One little lap traffic marker, and I'll tell you what, that was disaster for him. I didn't know who it was. Was it a Ferrari or was it this man in front of him, Lachlan Andrews, he got into the side of and tried to overtake, but still 9th overall in the circuit. Bloody good result here from Ryan Norwich. That was something that he could have absolutely DNF'd in if the steering was damaged.
Yeah, it was Harry Lawrence that he just nearly barreled into the side of, and then he just flew off into the barrier, and that is exactly not what you want. But he's going to hold on. It'll be interesting to see if we go on board if he has bent steering. And as Alex K takes another trip into the wall, he gets even more damage, and he's rejoined back onto the racing surface again, but he's losing his head here, and now Latanzio is only 5.6 seconds away. The damage is only getting worse. Alex K's tyres are pretty much toast at this point. The GTP battle could really be heating up here for the 2nd place position if Alex K keeps losing his head.
Oh geez, it's all happening. Don't take tyres and then you just take energy. It's a gamble. And the gamble at the moment is not paying off for Alex K, that's for sure. Latanzio can smell blood. 6.2 seconds, however, away from any sort of threat. But with, I reckon, some fresher tyres maybe on Latanzio's car, that is something to look out for. 3rd place is not done with yet, ladies and gents, overall in the circuit. It's not happening. I'll tell you what, it's happening here for Mr. Rees. Him and Sam Austin are right neck and neck, and Rees has got the job done over Sam Austin too. That is a place position inside the top 10 now. One more in for Jamie Rees. He is an absolute mare of a night up until now. He's fought his way back through the field in that Ferrari. Oh, a bit of contact there too between Rees and Austin. They're just giving each other a bit of curry, and Rees driving the wheels off that Ferrari, looking very, very nice, and circulating all the way down from 16th overall and finds himself in 10th place, and it's battle on between himself and Sam Austin with a lot of racing left to go. 19 minutes and 50 odd seconds. Jeez, it's you just can't make it up, ladies and gents. You really cannot make it up. It's still happening, and bar an absolute disaster for Eric Chandler, it's going to be race win for him. It's probably going to be race win for Jonathan Eaton as well, and then actually Lindsay.
Yeah.
What happened to Norwich? He was first, and now he's 4th.
We missed it. What has happened? Has he had to pit because of the damage?
Well, let's find out.
I didn't see.
Where is he? He has pitted fourth.
Yeah.
Yes, that was damage, ladies and gents. Wow. No, it wasn't just a little bit of contact. It must have been a huge amount of contact for Norwich. He was winning this by an absolute country mile, and he's coming to the pits. And unfortunately now in fourth place. He's probably going to try and get third black off Liam Curran here too. It's only 1.1 seconds away from him in the grand scheme of things. So it's interesting to see these guys have another crack at each other. But poor old Norwich was leading it by an absolute country mile. Now it's all in Jonathan Eaton's hands, and he's going to fly around this circuit and keep on keeping on. He has got 19 seconds between himself and Tommy Jones to take a place away from him and take the win away from him in Class 2. So very, very interesting indeed. But this man here, Lindsay, it is getting darker, and Chris Whitesell's just galloping away at a rate of knots.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a bit of a theme at the moment. The race leaders in their given classes are having a bit of a nightmare. First it was Alex Kay, who's now dropped 35 seconds behind Chandra and has Latanzio behind him. Then it was the LMP2 leader of Norwich, who looked confident out in the lead, much like Alex Kay. Now we have Whitesell, who looks confident in the lead and has done all race. Will he also fall apart in the final stint? Will it be a little bit of the leader's curse or the commentator's curse potentially here in the dying stages? I think it's something that should be kept an eye on, as well as Tyson Robson, the leading GT3 car, as far as I'm aware, at this current stage. Actually, no, it's Harry Lawrence who's leading the GT3 class. So I wonder what happened to Tyson Robs, as he was also leading the GT3 class. Well, no, he's right there. I'm absolutely blind, ladies and gentlemen. That is what happens when you don't have your glasses on.
Oh, mate, put on the Specsavers. I think we need to get some sponsorship here at SimSational TV, mate. Get yourself a free set of specs, that's for sure. Robs is well and truly still leading his go by a long shot. Don't worry about that. Harry Lawrence, who came to a proper there with Ryan Norwich earlier, is second overall in his class, so that's okay. He's happy with that. I guarantee you, in the grand scheme of things, he's very, very stoked with that. He lets everyone else go past him. Oh, Eaton's getting passed by Alex Kay in second place there pretty easily, but 38 seconds now is the gap between Chandra and Alex Kay. Eaton has, that gap is a lot further than what it was. Tommy Jones has come up proper somewhere, and it is now. Well, no, it isn't. It's 20 seconds, so it was 19, now it's 20. So he hasn't come up proper anywhere, Tom Jones. So he's well and truly keeping his hat on tonight. Here's Tom Jones. Greg Brock still circulating around, putting on the show for us and putting on a show here on circuit. Second in class overall from him. Great stuff from him. Lachlan Andrews, we haven't seen much of him tonight, apart from being in all the wrong places at the wrong time. But he's circulating around. He's going to get a podium in his place at the moment as well in class. So a great drive from Lachlan Andrews nonetheless. And Benny Collins and Miles Johnson are your last two guys on the grid and circulating around on track in the Aston Martin and the Ferrari. And have a look at how dirty Benny Collins' Ferrari is. That thing looks like it's been in the Baja race rather than the Sebring race here. It has got more dirt on that. That'd probably be weighing it down in the aero department, I reckon, in the grand scheme of things. But that's nonetheless is what is happening. Have these LMP2 guys got enough fuel, Lindsay, or enough energy, you reckon, to make it to the end? I'm pretty sure you said they might, but geez, it's going to be something to think about.
Yeah, they're going to make it quite comfortably, as currently we look at Eaton, and we have no virtual energy read on him. Apparently LMU's just like, nah, you're not allowed to know that. Neither with Norwich either, who we did earlier on in this race. So I don't think we're allowed to know about the LMP2s, but he's into the pit lane. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe the virtual energy counter earlier on in this race was incorrect, and he's into the pit lane, and that is going to be a fourth pit stop. So maybe Norwich just pitted early. Maybe he could find himself right back into this.
If he does, that's a strategical masterclass coming his way in Norwich. Maybe it wasn't the damage he came in for. Maybe it just was that pit stop. He thought, well, I'm meeting the wall. Might as well come in now and just let off some steam while I wait inside the pits and get my head back in the game. And I probably think that's a very good prediction there. As Eaton's in the pits, he's coming out now, but he's not going to be he's dead set, way off, because there goes Norwich past him. Tom Jones is still circulating around, and he is now circulating here onto the straight away of Sebring. He is not coming to the pits at this one. So another one around, but Norwich is right behind him. He's right there, 1.2 seconds away as the headlights well and truly take over and the night sky sets in here at Sebring. Geez, it's all going to happen here. Norwich, 100%, I reckon, has taken that pit stop strategy and said, yep, thank you very much. I've got that one covered. And now Tommy Jones is just thinking, I should have bloody pitted when he did. Maybe I wouldn't be in this predicament that I'm in now. Oh, Tom Jones just let him past. He knows what's going on, this Tom. So Norwich now back in the lead. And nothing happened nefarious to him. Sorry we called you that one out there, Norwich, but you are effectively in the lead of this race and by a good 14 odd seconds between yourself and Eaton. And Curran is still yet to pit as well. So it's going to be Curran versus Tom Jones once more, I would say here. For the last 13 minutes of the race, it's going to be interesting. 37 seconds, the gap between Alex Kay and Chandra, and that virtual energy is just absolutely creeping down to the rate of knots for the two guys on top. And Alex Kay is off again.
Yeah, Alex Kay has a spin heading onto the Ullman straight, and his day just going bad to worse, and Latanzio got past him in the meanwhile, so Alex now drops to third position in this race. Brimblecombe 16.2 seconds behind him, so if Alex keeps making mistakes in this race, it'll only go more wrong and wrong here in Sebring for the BMW, who was leading not that long ago in this race, so it's all fallen apart. That's what endurance racing can cause, and it's really putting it really into perspective as to what can happen in endurance races. There's a yellow flag once again. It's not Alex Kay, but Brimblecombe will be really hoping that Alex makes another mistake, but it's looking like it's going to be Chandra then Latanzio at this point, but we know that anything can happen. Kay still not super far behind Latanzio. He can try and close this back up, but the question is, what are the damages to his BMW, and also can he do it with the tyres underneath him that are so worn? His rear left has only 37% left in it before it'll go pop. It'll make the end, but is it enough to chase? I happen to think not.
Ooh, that's going to be exciting. But I think it's going to be enough to chase. 37% left of tyre. In any racing shape or form, sim racing IRL is just nearly at the point of not. I would say there. It's probably had about 58 race meetings on that one tyre. Unfortunately for Alex Kay, but that's racing. As Lindsay said, that's what it is. It's all about where you can be and what you can do in strategy, and make sure that you get it right. And I don't think Alex Kay's got this one right. Not taking tyres at his pit stop, that ended up in disaster, and it's really hurt him in the long run. A gamble sometimes just does not pay off. Latanzio in second. Oh yeah, Ron, absolutely. He will be well and truly P155 off. Actually, it's up, but it's after 8:30 here, so he will be pissed off. That's for sure. And I would say that, yeah, could be one of those days. Brimblecombe still 17 seconds behind and just gets past Greg Brock. So the two men who make it happen fighting tooth and nail over position on the track, albeit completely different classes of racing. And the hairbrush in fourth place, that number 7 Toyota, raced very well tonight. Very good job. He's kept it on the track, he's kept it fast, and he's done everything he possibly can whilst navigating all of the circuits. Tricks of the trade that it throws at you as well. So great job to this man with 10 minutes to go. It's petered out here, ladies and gents. Well and truly, it's petered out. That's for sure. But that's what endurance racing does. And the story of the night is still Alex Kay. Oh, we just saw the hairbrush go. Well, no, it wasn't. It was that was Tommy Jones just going a little bit wide to get out of the way. Tom Jones, the last man, 5th overall in class out of everyone. Marcus NG's got past him as well in the LMP2 class as well. And Norwich is leading this by 14 and a bit seconds over this man, Jonathan Eaton. So Norwich taking the win, I would say, here with 10 minutes to go, Lindsay. And it's just been an absolutely fantastic race. It's just never been really a stop sort of action kind of gig. 3 hours of racing never fails to amuse.
Yep, I would definitely agree with you. I think that Chandra's got the win knocked out in the hypercar. I think that we have Norwich easily knocking out the win in the LMP2 class. Then we also have, obviously, our GTE of Whitesell taking that win, and then Tyson Robbs will take the GT3 win if all stays at a standstill. But I'll tell you what, something I am noticing, the gap was 6 seconds a few laps ago between Alex Kay and Latanzio. Now 3.5, but never mind. Alex Kay takes another spinning venture just as he was starting to close in, pushing that rear left tyre too hard. on the exits. He's just not able to get it going, and that invites Brimblecombe ever so closer, but it's still 12 seconds. Brimblecombe won't have the time, I don't think, unless Alex makes another mistake, but it's coming all so common for Alex to make a mistake, so anything's possible. Brimblecombe could be a Toyota rounding out your podium, but Alex Kay will give it his best to try and hold on, but it's just all falling apart here for our former race leader, Alex Kay, in that BMW. He just can't keep that car in a straight line as he heads towards the first sector once again. I think we should do an onboard lap here with Alex Kay, just see potentially how he's pushing too hard.
Oh, definitely, and you can see the wheel work just soaring it, and let's have a look at the telemetry as well while we've got it there too, just to see how he's going. And you can see the struggle. The power is not going down at all very nicely, ladies and gents. You can see the force feedback chucking his wheel around as well. Heavy braking, just throttle tracing as well, and brake tracing too as he gets under the throttle. Just very, very, very lightly, just dabbing that throttle out in centre style to know where the traction is at the end of it. It's a different driving style here, but nonetheless, it's not paying dividends for him. The pit strategy has not worked as he nails that apex, just gets it on, hammers on throttle again. Still not full throttle where he probably could have been 10 laps ago. And now he'll heavy brake himself, double right-hander coming your way, sort of a double apex sort of thing. Another little straight before you start to turn left and dip it in. This could be interesting. Is he going to hold it flat through here? Yes, he does. He's still got the tyre life on the right-hand side, but the left hand is the one that's killing him at the moment. You can see a bit of soaring on the throttle, oversteer as well on the steering wheel too. That is not a happy BMW at the moment. Just getting on the power at the end of traction control, well and truly kicking in every single time he applies the throttle here at Sebring. And I'll tell you what, he's wishing that Rolex watch was on his wrist rather than sim racing at the moment on a Saturday night. Can he navigate the final turn? He just gets it pointed in, still not accelerating, just getting on it. Now the throttle tracing begins, the traction control still there, and at 230 k an hour he's oversteering one lap around Sebring aboard of the struggling Alex Kay. It just shows you, ladies and gents, how much it hampers you.
Yeah, it really does. He's struggling a lot in this dying stage as we go back off board with the BMW in question. Brimblecombe nearly within 10 seconds, so any small mistake from Alex Kay could see Brimblecombe right in attacking distance. It'll be interesting to see now how the BMW continues to push on. He still has a car in front of him to chase. He doesn't have the time if it's a pure chase, but it is going to be close. There's also Guterro and Vintner are very close together for the top 5, 1.3 seconds between the BMW and the Alpine as they push with 6.5 minutes to go in the hypercar class. So he's going to be chasing as fast as he can. We know Guterro and Vintner have both had the pace, but we also know that Guterro was ahead earlier. Vintner had a spin and he managed to get back into it in this race, and he took the place back during the pit stops, and now it's all going to come towards the dying stage of this race. 1.4 seconds, 6 minutes to go between these two. It is going to be hammer and tong fighting with all the pushing you can possibly imagine here between these two as they continue to push through. The BMW with the same livery as Alex Kay, having a bit more of a nice time with his BMW, but just a little bit further down. So it'll be interesting to see how his BMW is handling. Did Vintner take tyres? I think is the biggest question. I'd imagine he did, but Guterro is closing in quite significantly at this point. 6/10 between them, and they have some traffic to boot in front of them as well. So this is going to be very, very close. There's a lot of flashing lights going on board here with Guterro as he has NG in front of him as he heads into the turning point. Through the third sector now, just sweeps through. He has the overspeed, and then on the exit he should drive away. It allowed Guterro just to fall off just a little bit from Vintner this time around, as there is now 5 minutes remaining here in Sebring. It's all going to come down to this. It's been nearly 3 hours, and there is still a battle that's separated by less than a second. Maybe not though, because that's very wide there from Guterro, and it separates out once again nearly 2 seconds. That could be the nail in the coffin here for Guterro.
Yeah, unfortunate for Guterro, just a little bit wide. Lost the car under braking and just understeered off the apex well and truly, and that allowed Marcus NG to just sail back through, but only for a short while. The pace difference immense between these two classes. at the moment. But now Guterro's just got to focus back forward because it's only 1.5 seconds realistically with 4 minutes 18 left here in the race. What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to stick with each other whilst navigating traffic? I would hope so here. Flashing of the lights coming away. That is Mr. Reese in front of Guterro, not getting out of the way. That's pretty poor. He should know better. He's coming at a rate of knots, and Reese is nowhere near any of these guys. He's 4 laps off the pace, and he's still hampered Guterro there too. That was pretty bad, but nonetheless, it's now it's 1.5 seconds. It's not really letting go of that gap here. We've only got about 2.5 laps here of racing left to go, ladies and gents, after 3 hours of hardcore action here at Sebring. These boys will be bringing Seireis relief. I reckon being a Saturday night, they might get on the old hit and miss after this race. Just take a couple of drinks and go, wowee. That was something to behold. We had everything come our way. We've had leaders by a country mile. We've stuffed it up in Alex K. We've had people go off the circuit. We've had Norwich give us an absolute catfish as well, thinking he was off and into the pits for an extra stop for damage. But no, he's still leading this race in his class. Oh, that was Wilkinson. Absolutely pirouetting on the spot. And he is falling down. Jamie Reese has got past him too. That's going to be some huge damage there for that Cadillac. That thing has got more hits than Elvis and Queen put together. I reckon at the end of this race, they'll be looking for some panel damage there, Lindsay Muddle.
Yeah. Sorry. Just caught me off guard. I did not expect that one. Zach O'Reilly pulling out the good jokes here with just under 3 minutes to go. As always, Zach just always able to think on his feet. And that is definitely one of your qualities, Zach, I reckon, here in SimSational TV. But pushing on here with 2.5 minutes to go. Alex nearly spun again, but he managed to collect it back up. Didn't lose any time to Brimblecombe in the process, so he's really struggling in that BMW. But speaking of struggling, we saw Wilkinson in the wall, and now he's going to be battling away with Reese as they head towards the turn 7 head in. Oh no, there's contact. They're both on the grass. They both managed to recollect it as they head towards turn number 7. There's nearly contact again on the apex. Wilkinson's going to get the switch back underneath over the grip of the Ferrari. Has a snap. Wilkinson back through a flash of the lights in frustration from Reese with 2 minutes to go, and it's absolute drama and controversy between these two, and a little bit of argy-bargy and a straight line between the two of them as well. But Wilkinson gets back through, begins to run away once again, but that is Reese not happy.
Not happy. I reckon Reese nearly tried to just turn himself into the rear end and do a pit manoeuvre there on Wilkinson in retaliation, and they're still flashing each other. I'll tell you what, I think it's all over for Jamie Reese. 1.2 seconds away from any sort of battle come to fruition, unless Wilkinson puts it into the wall again. I'm not too sure, but that was exciting there for the moment. In the grand scheme of things, Payno has DNF. Oh no, he's in the box. That is a very late stop for Payno. Could not make it to the end of the race, and he is feeling every single bit of that at the moment. Not been a very good night for this man. He's filled every second of his last name, that's for sure. But we're rounding the final minute, Lindsay. It's nearly 3 hours done, bar the shouting. And looking at where our race leader, and rightly so, put a no foot wrong at all as Eric Chandra tonight, I think we're going to get one more lap around here by the time they get to the checkered flag, unless he just pulls off and just wants it to be over before that timer counts down. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. But nonetheless, this man is your leader on the circuit, Eric Chandra. Fiat will be absolutely singing to the high heavens here, loving every single moment of it. 30 seconds left here. What are we going to see? Oh no, that was Tyson. No, it wasn't. That wasn't Tyson Robbs. That was Rando. Off in the distance there and in the grass. He is still third in class after that spin too. That's the gap strategy between the rest of them. Wowee. Go off the circuit, managed to keep it in, but it's going to be Eric Chandra's day. He's going to have one more lap around Sebring here, ladies and gents. Lindsay Muddle, you can take it home, my friend.
Alright, so Chandra for one more lap of Sebring on board with the man himself, the race leader. He was trailing, he was chasing tail for so long in this race. Alex K was the leading car as he just worked away. He had a good strategy in the opening stage of this race. Got the undercut, but got re-overtaken and pulled away again. And Alex K looks like he had it in the bag. And then Eric Chandra came through, capitalised on a big string of Alex K's mistakes and a stop-go 10-second time penalty, and he's found himself leading ever since. 12 seconds to Latanzio behind him. He just paced himself. He kept himself consistent as Alex Kay takes another trip into the wall and hits the wall as well. Brimblecombe won't be able to get through, but yeah, Chandra definitely just kept himself consistent, unlike Alex Kay. And this is exactly what endurance racing is about. It's keeping your head cool, keeping calm, collected, while keeping a good pace, managing traffic, all of the things you can possibly think of in the realm of motorsport, and Chandra managed it absolutely beautifully, and now he finds himself cruising away. The timer at 0, one more lap of Sebring, half a lap to go, and he should be okay, and he should be able to spray the champagne on the top step of the podium. He'll be very proud of himself. Winning a solo 3 hour nonetheless, is no feat to not write home about. It is definitely something to celebrate. It takes a lot of endurance, and now he heads down the Ullman Straight for one more time towards Sunset Curve, and he will be delighted. As long as he rounds this final corner correctly, he will do, and he will take the victory here in ESO for the 3 hour of Sebring. He's going to round the final corner and be victorious in the hypercar class. Eric Chandra, take a bow. You are the race winner.
Well done, Eric Chandra. Absolutely sensational effort, and he is absolutely fist pumping, I reckon, in the cockpit of his car at the moment. Cracking stuff there, mate. You have done so well tonight. Everything's come towards you and come against you, and you've come out on top. That is what it takes. Same with the Tanzio as well. Driving the wheels off that pocket that's at Sebring. Not an easy feat in that car. That thing is a handful at the best of times. Alex Kay finally gets his way across the finish line there. Oh, geez, what a night for him. That was something to behold. Final step of the podium goes Alex Kay's way. The hairbrush only a little bit away, only 6 seconds by the time we cross the entry field, or the rest of the circuit, to take 4th place. Vintner, 5th place in his class as well. Well done to him. Let's go back to Ryan Norwich. He is about to round the final sector here at Sebring, or second sector, and he's going to take the win by an absolute field day over his compatriots. It is 73 seconds, all thereabouts, by him, and is he's getting onto the final sector here of the circuit, unless he's already done it. I'm not too sure. I think he's still racing around, Lindsay. We'll see what happens, but this is your man, winner of the LMP2 class, Mr. Norwich. Take a bow. You've absolutely sailed away and said thank you. That's it, all over by the shouting. Great job, flashes of lights, happy days for Mr. Norwich, just doing his perfect drive for him, and he's going to round the final turn here at Sebring and take it away. Thank you very much. Sensational stuff from Ryan Norwich there. Next in line, Chris Weitzel. He's already done. He's been lapped, so he's our winner. He's off the field in the, is it GDE or GT3, Lindsay? I can't remember. GDE. Tyson Robbs in first place for GT3. Greg Brock also takes out the podium position in GT, what, 3?
GTE P2.
How do you tell? I got no idea.
Overall,
P2.
P3. It's just because I know the car models.
You know the car models better than I do. Phil Rando as well, P3. Overall, Harry Lawrence, P2 in his class, and Lachlan Andrews takes the final step of the podium. But that is all she wrote, ladies and gents. Look at the gaps there. 12 seconds from Eric Chandra to Lando Latanzio. Well done to him. And Alex Kay in 3rd place. Brimblecombe 4th. Vintner, Gutero, Wall, Gibbons, Austin, Reese, and Wilkinson rounding out your hypercars with your LMP2s. Ryan Norwich taking the chockies. Jonathan Eaton in 2nd place. Liam Curran, Tommy Jones, and Marcus NG round out your top 5 there, Lindsay. And poor old Payno feeling every single bit of that pain in the hypercar class.
Yeah, definitely so, and Alex Kay will be as well. He got slowed up to the pit lane. I'm just watching a replay of it now. He slowed up to the pit lane, and then his pit limiter didn't turn on when he hit the button, which is how he sped into the pit lane. So that is really, really unfortunate there for Alex Kay, but that is how it goes, and well done to everybody who finished the race. Well done especially to those podium sitters in your respective classes. It's not an easy feat. 3 hours solo definitely makes you feel it when you get to the end of it, and if you ask me, I'd say that race was pretty sensational.
Oh, dead set. Absolutely. Every race here at SimSational TV is exactly that. And Chris Weitzel's doing a great job. Thank you very much, Ron Marshall. Appreciate the tip there as well. Love your work, mate. You're an absolute legend. Weitzel taking out GTE class. Tyson Robb's taking out GT3 class. Greg Brock in GTE, second overall. And Phil Rando in third place behind him overall for GTE. Second for GT3, Harry Lawrence and Lachlan Andrews round out your final podium with the rest of them, apart from Johnson and Collins, all DNFing relatively early for Gunther Rowe, and Magnussen unfortunately decided to go. Grant went definitely begging there. He's out on the streets at the moment, hunting for some 5-cent coins. Christian Wells fell down at lap 40 odd, and Tansen just decided that it's a bit of an early time to go to on Christmas Eve, and we'll be back with him later on. He will rise once again from the shadows, I am sure. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fantastic to have you on board with us all this race. 3 hours. Lindsay Muddle, thank you very much for being here with me as well. It's been a pleasure calling it alongside you, my friend. Let's give it a rating out of 10. What out of 10 for that whole race? Give us something.
I reckon I give it an 8. Wasn't the most blockbuster thing of all time, but the final stint definitely kicked it up a few notches, definitely made it fairly exciting. It was good action here to finish off the 3-hour race, and also the race start, and even the middle after the pit stops kept us guessing at every single moment. Overall, a very, very solid race. Yeah,
definitely. I would say 8.5 out of 10. It was very, very good from everyone in sundry, but that is it. LMU's kicked us out of the server, so I guess we're going to get kicked out of the commentary box by the security at any moment. We'll be back here at SimSational TV. Don't you worry, we'll be back on Wednesday for the Wednesday Cup coming away at AK Racing. That's the next broadcast on
Tuesday.
track. Oh, Tuesday, sorry. No, not even Tuesday. Even Monday, however. We'll be back for LMU. My goodness, how am I going? Monday, we'll be back for LMU. Tuesday, we'll be Formula 1 and Far Gone Racing.
No F1.
No F1, Formula 1 out of it. Far Gone Racing will be back there for that on Tuesday night. Then Wednesday night is the fantastic Wednesday Cup coming your way. It's going to be absolutely jam-packed here at SimSational TV YouTube land. Love yous. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on the chat. Great to have you with us. Share that like and subscribe button amongst your family and friends. But Lindsay Muddle, as always, has been himself. I'm Zach O'Reilly, and guess what? You are not, but we are out here at SimSational TV. Thanks for tuning in. We'll love yous and see yous in a couple of days.